Good morning, my good people of the internet. We are here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora for another amazing, fun, exciting week. A lot of great stuff coming up, folks. Major League Baseball is hurling itself toward its postseason. The NFL is going toward its regular season, believe it or not. Preseason in full swing. We're almost there. And college football is still insane. So, with realignment and reclassification and all these things going on, I have some thoughts. I believe some of those thoughts may be true when it comes to my predictions for this college realignment continuation, as Cal and Stanford and Oregon State and Washington State are left to pasture right now. So we'll see what's going to happen. Hard to believe, and I feel bad for all four schools. Hard to believe that Cal and Stanford, of all schools, that we just come to know those names over time, long periods of time, that they would ever not have a home. See, but that's the thing. When you giggle at the American Athletic and the old Big East and the Sun Belt and Conference USA, and you say, oh, look at them over there. Hey, they just lost somebody. Oh, they didn't get that. Oh, they just lost that. It can happen to anybody. That's the reality. It can happen to anybody. That's why you don't do the neighbor approach. Oh, thank God my neighbor's getting robbed, but it's not me. Well, as you can see in college realignment, anybody can get robbed at any time. And we need to have better parameters and protection here. Basically, what conference realignment needs, what schools need, is a good security system. They need to, when that door opens, that thing needs to go off and cops are there in 20 seconds. Because there is no security system. There's been a breach of collegiate athletics. And I've been talking about it for a while, all the way through COVID. And Murph and I obviously had a good time with it last week. We're going to touch on it this week after we talk about Major League Baseball and the NFL. I'm coming off of a fantastic day yesterday. I spent the whole day at Alfred University, and I sent out my views on our social media, Facebook at Wake Up Call DT, Twitter at Call DT, and Instagram at Wake Up Call _DT. And folks, it was even more beautiful than those pictures show you. Fantastic drive up there. And I got to see their equestrian center, some of it there. I got to go to their lake, their private lake. And I was back in college again. I was transported back to college. I'm like, wow, this is great. So, Alfred University, the whole day. We have an amazing week of specials coming up for you next week with the football program. And every single student athlete that sat down with me tells a different story. It's kind of like, can you watch Friends and understand the episode without seeing other episodes? Yeah, but they're all tied together. And that's what next week's going to be. Each of those episodes stands alone with our Saxon Spotlights with the student athletes of the football program at Alfred University. But at the same time, they're all together as they're all teammates and they're all on one team. And I am so grateful to Alfred of everything that we got to do yesterday. Wake Up Call and Dan Tortora Broadcast Media got to be the first ever broadcast company to bring Media Day interviews to Alfred University for any sport in the history of the university. So, yesterday was a huge day, and I'm very humbled. And my conversation with my mom on the way home is one that I'll never forget, and I very much appreciate it. So, with that being said, as we always do each week, we bring you into the week with DT and Murphy, my good buddy Brendan Murphy, my fellow sports card enthusiast, and hi, I'm Brendan, I'm Dan. We collect sports cards, and we may have a problem. So that is a beautiful thing that we get to do. And this week, I get to do more of that because trade night is August 17th from 6:30 to 9:30 p.m. at GG Cards and Breaks, so I'll be there. And I'm really looking forward to that. And then Brendan and I got some cool news coming up in September, hopefully for you, that we can release very soon. So DT and Murphy is going to start off the week as we always do. We're going to talk about Major League Baseball, the NFL, as well as touch on conference realignment. Then, as always on a Monday, we bring you to Saxon Time, which is Mondays at 10:30 a.m. Eastern Time. First and third Monday of each month brings you the presidential perspective. So Mark Zupan, the president of Alfred University, is back with me today, and our conversation today is about the welcoming to all new students and returning students and student athletes and faculty and staff to Alfred University. So we have a welcome home special today, which I'm really excited about, and he will speak with me on the retention rate rising at Alfred University, which is great because all colleges and universities were undergoing the fact that there could be lower numbers, so their retention rate rising and their new student number rising as well at Alfred University, and I'm really excited to share all of that with you. And of course, today I am wearing a shirt that says Godfather and Godson, and then down here it says Best Friends for Life. So big shout out to my godson Noah. I love you, buddy, and I hope you're having a great day, and I'm super excited about your return to school, but I want you to enjoy the rest of your summer, and I hope you're doing well. To all my nieces and nephews out there, much love. So with that being said, let's bring in the man of the hour. That is Murph. And I saw him in the queue here laughing a little bit when I did that. I'm Dan. I'm Murph. We collect sports cards, and we might have a problem. I was finding and it's so my studio and my office are connected. My office has stacks of sports cards, and I don't even know what I have because I collected a bunch of stuff and I opened a bunch of packs and whatnot. I kind of realized I have stacks and stacks of things. So there's two things I realized. One, I have more cards than I thought I did, which is always typically the case. Two, Murph's going to yell at me for not putting some of these in top loaders. And three, I got to figure out what I got because it's like rediscovering. You open these packs, you get excited in the moment, then 3 years goes by, 10 years go by, and you're like, what is in that pile of sports cards? So I got to go through some piles because they're all over the place. There's a little takeover. So I might have to bring some of these out to trade night and see if I can sell some of these cards. But Murph, how are you?
Doing well. A little sunburnt, yes, from yesterday. I was hanging out at the pool at the house. It's a nice little Sunday afternoon. I was gonna go to a card show, but I ended up going Saturday instead because I left work early because nothing was happening, and the show wasn't great. So I kind of was like, yeah, I'm not going again. So I decided to stay home. I hung out with my mom at the pool and got a little bit sunburnt. I don't know if you can tell, but it's my arm is very red.
Yeah, it's
Both of them, very red.
your lighting in your studio is being gentle to you because
I know.
I can tell there's a little hue, but imagine if life could be like that. You got totally burned, and then you just change, you adjust the color in the studio, and then the burn goes away. So
I
it's
know.
and that's the thing too is in my studio, the way that the lighting is, my face looks a lot lighter than it is because my body's actually tan. So my arms can show it here, but my face looks lighter. So, appearances can be deceiving depending on where your lighting
That
is
is
at.
true.
So in actuality, I am more tan than you may see, and Murph's a lobster today. So
It hurts a little too, which isn't good,
well,
but
that's the thing that I don't ever like to hear, and I never used to get burned, and I don't know what happened, but now I'll get if I go out in the sun, and even if I put some suntan lotion on, the first couple days in the sun that I'm out there, I'll get burned, and I'm not used to that. So
yeah.
I don't like it at all, and it feels weird. It's a very unique feeling, and it also kind of humbles you to the fact of the sun is really far away. However, when they say sun kissed, it's like a good thing. Well, there's a sun slap where the sun is like, hey, I'm a really far distance away, but you can feel me like I'm in your face. And that's in that I feel like that's a God humbler. God's like, hey, that thing that keeps this planet going? Me? Well, I have that sun part that I put over there, but if you decide to stay outside in direct sunlight, You can feel it. But let's get back to this, okay? Let's get back to the show isn't really what I wanted it to be. So I was just laying out by the pool. Poor you, Murph. Like, what a terrible day for you yesterday.
My cousin Danny said the same thing. He's a cop in New York City, so he's NYPD. And we do these things called reply chugs.
Yeah.
Not going to get into specifics. It's probably a little inappropriate for the air, but I sent him and my couple of my other cousins and a couple of my buddies one. He texts me back. He goes, "Look, good for you being outside on your day off. I'm working on my day off." And I'm like, "Well, maybe you shouldn't work on your day off."
Yeah, I mean and that's the thing too is like yesterday. So yesterday, I try to make the most of my weekends and I try to relax. Especially out of football season when there's no games on Saturday and Sunday. And yesterday I woke up at 5 a.m. yesterday and got out there and did it. Now I want to do it, and I definitely wanted to do it, and I loved it, and I had a perfect day, a near perfect day, and so it was awesome, and at the same time I value so much more now, like when I have some time on a weekend and I can kind of just like sleep in. So Lily and I slept in on Saturday. We had a little break there, but I don't feel bad anymore. I went through this period of like I feel bad if I sleep in, I feel bad if I take a nap. I don't feel bad anymore now. I'm like, what? You know what I mean? Like I work very hard, and when I get to take a little slumber, I'm going to take it. But then today I woke up today and I was like, man, I got to find a nap in here today. And today is bunch of stuff after the show. So I don't know if I get to nap it up today, but you appreciate the naps. You really do.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't like that people are like, children and if you're past 80, you take naps. And I'm like, no, you should take naps whenever you can get one in. And the crazy thing about me, I don't know if you remember this from Avengers, but in the first Avengers, my guy Mark Ruffalo that plays Bruce Banner, aka the Hulk, when he's running, he looks at Natasha Romanoff, Black Widow, and he says to her, Scarlett Johansson's character, he says to her, "You know what my secret is? I'm always angry." And then he turns into the Hulk. So I use that, but different. And I tell people all the time, like if I get like 20 minutes, I'm like, you know what my secret is? I'm always tired. So I can fall asleep like usually pretty good. And but I was watching the Big Brother live feeds last night because I'm a Big Brother fan, and so I was just going to sleep to people whispering how they're going to get people out of the house, and that's fine. Then I had some really vivid dreams, Murph, and I don't know if you ever have vivid dreams, but I had like vivid when you really genuinely feel like they almost happened, which is pretty. I don't know if you ever have dreams like that, but I like where you kind of have to say to yourself, did that happen or did it not happen?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh, of course. I mean, we've all had the dreams like that, but don't yell at me, but I have never seen Avengers, any of them.
Yeah. Well, when I was saying it out loud, I was like, you know what? I think that Murph hasn't seen this stuff, and it's sad, Murph, because the movies that they were making in the past are far better than the ones that they're making now, excluding Black Panther: Wakanda Forever and Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, because and those ones got me, because you don't see me cry in a movie a lot, but I cried in Black Panther 4 times. And I don't even care to tell people that, because if you didn't cry in the Black Panther Wakanda Forever, I don't know what type of heart you don't have. But I mean, that movie was emotional, and obviously Chadwick Boseman passed away in real life, so it was just sad. We got a question that came in here. Certainly some crossover years and 2 network juggernaut episode sitcoms. Are you guys on Team Friends or Seinfeld? This is an easy answer for me, but I want to get your thoughts.
You want to do it? You want to say it at the same time?
Yeah, let's do it at the same time. All right, let's see. I feel like it might be different, but we're going to do it at the same time. I'm going to say 1, 2, 3, and then we'll do it. Okay?
All right.
1, 2, 3, Friends.
Yes! Yes! Nice.
Yes! I was like, if he says Seinfeld, I'm going to be pissed. But
oh, God, no. Listen, I like Seinfeld. It's a good show. My guy I work with, Matt, would probably be very disappointed in me because he absolutely loves Seinfeld. It's just like his favorite show ever. He kills Seinfeld trivia.
Yeah.
But thing is, Friends is just more of a show that I related to as a kid. So like anytime it was on, I'd watch it. Like it's like the shows that were on Nick at Night when I was a kid from the 90s.
Yeah.
I always watched Full House, Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, George Lopez.
Yeah.
Oh God, what were the other ones? What was always on right after
Here's the
Fresh
thing,
Prince?
though. Like Nick at
I
Night,
don't
when
remember.
Nick at Night becomes George Lopez, and I mean, the shows that were on Nick at Night, it's crazy because my Nick at Night was the Andy Griffin Show, the Dick Van Dyke Show. It was I Love Lucy. It was Mr. Ed, the Talking Horse. So I had like a totally different. It's so weird because like it's like you're growing up and then time just sped up and I sound like I'm 157 years old because I had black and white Nick at Night and other people are like, no, my Nick at Night's George Lopez, like you just said. And I'm like, yeah, like I was spoiled when they put Nick at Night, George Lopez, which was great. And Greg said he had me pinned for Friends, of course. Well, I want to know why you picked me for Friends, Greg. But here's the thing. I want to do this with you because we did this a long time ago. Okay? So I want to get your thoughts and then we're going to jump into baseball. We, DT and Murphy here on Wake Up Call, by the way, starting off your week as we always do. So when I was in high school, I feel like I was set up. And what I mean by this is like a bunch of my friends, we all went out to dinner. And I won't name the restaurant because they don't work with Wake Up Call. So there's that. And I said no, I don't need. They're not even around anymore. But we went out to the restaurant, and we were all just kind of sitting there. And then the table, there was like more than six of us, so some of us were not going to be included in this thing, I guess. And they were like, okay, who do you think is like what friend's character? So they're like, who do you think this girl is? Who do you think that guy is? And whatever. And then they got to me, and something hindsight 2020 felt very staged because they're like, who do you think Dan is? And they're like, ready? One, two, three. And they all yell it out. And I think one person said the person I was hoping, and then everybody else said this other character. And there was a funny thing that ensued from there. But I want to know before I tell the story. So, Greg, jump on this and be quick on it. Greg, who do you think they said I was? Murph, who do you think they said I was?
That's a good one. I don't think it's Joey.
Which is what? Yeah. Oh, wait. Yeah. Go ahead. I don't want
I
to.
mean, everybody hopes to be Joey, but
Joey.
we just don't like to have Joey's intelligence.
Right. Right.
Um, hmm, that is a good one. I'm gonna say Ross.
That's highly disrespectful. So, oh my gosh. I remember my dad. My dad was like, Greg said Ross too. What the hell? What the hell this what did I do to you people? But this is okay, here's the thing. David Schwimmer
What do you want me to say, Gunther?
No, Chandler. So my lord.
Did
Okay.
everyone else say Ross?
No, this is what happened. So we're in the restaurant and they go one, two, three, and they all yell out loud, Chandler. And I went, Chandler? Because I wanted to be Joey. I was like, I'm Italian, I'm funny. They're like, yeah, but you're not stupid.
Yeah.
And you're not a womanizer. That was the other part of it. And I was like, okay, well, I appreciate those two things. So I go home, it's a week later. I'm watching Friends. And so I'm in high school. I'm laying on the couch in the house I grew up in. I'm watching Friends and I'm watching Chandler and I was like, this is ridiculous. I'm not him. And he was on the screen going like that, and doing his thing. And I picked up the phone and I didn't get it till I got it. I picked up the phone. I called one of the people that was there that night. I was like, dude, what the hell with this Chandler thing? And he's like, oh, what do you mean? And I was talking to him and I went, I am so not Chandler. And he just started laughing and he goes, and that is why you are. And I didn't get it at the time, but I said it that way. I went, I am so not Chandler. And then when I found out why they said it, they're like, Chandler's funny. And I thought Joey was the funny one. But Ross, I don't, I don't know why I did this to myself today. Because here's the thing. Like, they said Chandler, I thought it was bad, but then it's good. Courtney Cox is gorgeous. And obviously they end up together. Spoiler alert for a show that ended a very long time ago.
Hey.
What?
I put you together with Jennifer Aniston, so you better shut your mouth.
I love Jennifer. I think Jennifer Aniston's
Who doesn't?
She's my all-time crush.
If anybody tries to tell me that Jennifer Aniston is not one of the hottest actresses ever,
yeah,
they're just wrong. It's just, and I don't care that she's 50.
No,
she's still a dime.
She is the all-time undefeated crush of mine. I mean, she really is. And that's when people ask me, because I get that when we do rapid fire with like the student athletes, are like, who's your celebrity crush? And all the time I'm like, hey, it's Jennifer Aniston. So there's a few, but Jennifer Aniston's like been through the years. But yeah, but Ross,
it always will be Jennifer Aniston.
Yeah. But Ross, my dad's like, I don't like Ross, and I'll never forget this. I go, Dad, why do you not like Ross? He goes, I don't know, he makes me nervous. And so like, but Ross is, yeah. But Chandler, Chandler back then, I'm like, Chandler's weird, and they're like, no, he's funny. And then today, all these years later, you and Greg just brought me to another place where now 10 years from now I get to tell this story, and then people will go, Gunther, and then I'll be like, nobody gets to talk anymore.
No, I wouldn't do that to you.
Oh, Gunther. I totally forgot about Gunther. God bless Gunther. But, not Ross. But, yeah, Jennifer Aniston, sure. But, no, they said Chandler. But I'm a Friends fan. I watch Friends to this day, and I love it. And the more I watch it, the more I'm like, Jennifer Aniston's always my fave. However, Courtney Cox is like right there. I never realized just like how much she's gorgeous as well. And so it's a wonderful show. There's nothing like it, and I miss it terribly. New Girl was like a good approach of like bringing something like that back. But obviously it was like shot different. So, but I do.
Well, I think there's the other series you can almost compare to that is How I Met Your Mother.
Yeah.
Because of like obviously they always spend all their time in the coffee shop, and How I Met Your Mother always spends time at McLaren's in the bar. That's one of my favorite shows. So that's one that I've always really liked. I started watching it back when I had the shoulder surgery, but I haven't really picked up on it because I started watching other shows.
Yeah.
And I'd rather watch like new episodes of different shows than rewatch other episodes of another show. Because like I like How I Met Your Mother, but I'm not like a super fan of How I Met Your Mother.
Yeah.
But like I ended up starting to watch Suits.
Yeah.
And apparently that's become one of the most watched sitcoms ever. Well, and I didn't realize how big it was until I started watching it.
Well, that's the thing though. Like I watched Suits when it was so early on. And I watched Sons of Anarchy when it was early on. So the fact that people are going to Suits now, which was on TNT, and they're going to Suits all these years later for this, this drama show that has some comedy in it, different kind of elements and whatnot. But people going to watch it now and watching it on Netflix, and it's crazy when you go to Netflix's top 10 and it's like Suits, third most watched thing in America. And I'm like, man, I started watching that show like 12 years ago or whatever it was. Mm-hmm. And I had a crush on Meghan Markle, who's in the show, who's now, part of the royal family or whatever's going on over there. And so, and all I got to say is, Megan, if it ain't good over there, I still think you're a beautiful woman and a phenomenal actress. So, but yeah, I think there's a lot of great stuff that's out there, and I think that Friends definitely takes the cake in a lot of ways for a lot of really awesome stuff. And it's funny that we're talking about this because I was talking about COVID, people watching, and like people like I have nothing to watch. I watched everything, and I had never seen Game of Thrones, so I had like 3 or 4 months at the beginning of COVID where I was just watching the show that so many had watched, and the entire series of 7+ years is fantastic. The last 2 episodes, someone should have been like, is this the script?
Yeah. I heard the last 2 episodes were terrible.
Awful. And people said season 8. It wasn't.
Or the whole last season was terrible.
But it wasn't. Season 8 was not terrible. It was the last 2 episodes. It was, this is how it should have went. It should have went like this. Piece of paper comes in. They look at it. Okay. Let me trying to get my prop out. Okay. So the piece of paper comes in, and they take a look, and they go, is this it? This is what you want to do for the last 2 episodes? Don't ever come back in my office again. Get out of here. Don't do. What is this? 7+ years of buildup, and this is what you have for me now. So yeah. So I mean, honestly, that's what they should have done. They didn't do.
It wasn't a good ending. Now granted, I really haven't seen a ton of the Game of Thrones. Like, I think they run it on HBO, right? On HBO Max.
Yeah, it's on there.
Which is the reason why I haven't been able to see it, because it's on HBO. If and when I ever get HBO Max, I'll probably watch it. But, knowing what I know about Game of Thrones and knowing people that love Game of Thrones, seeing how disappointed they were at the ending,
yeah,
I kind of felt it for them. Because, I understood what was happening. I know what happens in Game of Thrones. Obviously, I've seen the ending, so I know what happens.
Yeah.
But Emilia Clarke makes you want to watch that show.
Yeah, there's a lot of, and the thing is, like, and again, it's kind of like The Walking Dead. It starts out where anybody can die, and then it turns into, we're going to keep a bunch of these people around. And that's the thing. That's my thing with Walking Dead. Like, they have Dead City now, which is in New York City. And it's funny, though, because, like, all of The Walking Dead takes place in an apocalyptic time. But in Dead City, instead of having zombies, it's just the same people of New York City as regular people, and it's still crowded. And I'm kidding. But I mean, think about that. Who would go to New York City and be like, hey, you know where it smells and people are nuts and they're on top of each other? We're going to make that a zombie movie. And you're like, isn't it already? So, I mean, I would not listen. I like to visit New York City. I am not knocking you, New York City. All I'm saying is the smell of the subway not far off from a zombie smell, and the people are gonna be really Dan. But I mean, but seriously, as I tell people about anything, show me where I'm wrong. Show me where I'm wrong about the smell of the subway. I'm not.
Yeah.
I'm not. And but Dead City, I want to watch it, but it's like they're not killing off anybody anymore, and that's the difficult thing. Like, they kept all of the main people for many, many years, and the whole point of that show is they could kill anybody. The second episode of Game of Thrones, they killed the patriarch of a family that I thought was going to be around forever. They beheaded him instantaneously. And I remember sitting there going like, what is this show? I just started to like the characters. I'm like, oh, I think I like this family. I think I like that. Beheaded. And that's why I think the show was so good, because anybody could die at any given time. And now they don't, some shows don't stay true to that like The Walking Dead used to. And I love The Walking Dead. I just want there to be, more of a suspenseful, anything can happen. Like, there was times where it gut wrenched. There were times where I had to step out of the room because of people that they killed. And, now you kind of just like, yeah, for the last 3 years, they're just going to keep everybody the same. So, Friends over Seinfeld all day, for all of you to know, to kind of bring it all back together. So, Murph, let's go to baseball, because if anything, makes sense to the smell of the subway being like zombies and Friends over Seinfeld and Jennifer Aniston. It's a segue into baseball. So, what are your thoughts on? I like that little head turn on that. That's how we segue. When there is no segue, you make a joke about the segue, which becomes your segue. So, segue
Mm-hmm.
from the subway to the segue. Ooh, that's a good one too. We are here with Major League Baseball. What are your thoughts as we creep closer? And my Diamondbacks came more down to earth, sad face. So, where are we at right now in this baseball world? And do you really honestly believe, we know the Mets have the money, but do you really honestly believe there's a true shot at Shohei Ohtani after they have put all of their, most of their pitching, let me say, out on the front lawn? And it looks like the Mets have kind of accepted the fact of 22 and a half games back this morning. Let's just call it a season and push really hard for Shohei Ohtani. So, I mean, is this a real viable? We know they have the money. But if you're the Mets right now and Shohei Ohtani was listening, do you think you have a good enough argument?
Yes, and here's the reason for that. Now, first things first, let's talk about the elephant in the room.
Yeah.
The Mets suck right now. Like, they are brutal to watch. They just lost 3 out of 4 from the Braves. I'm surprised they didn't get swept. But I think the only reason they didn't get swept by winning last night was because Kodai Senga threw a pretty solid start. Threw a quality start, 6 innings, 3 runs. He is a very, very good pitcher. That's turning into a great signing for them. Makes this card a little bit more valuable now, huh?
Look at that.
This is, I figure, just because it was sitting right next to me.
Yeah.
This is Topps Chrome 2023, Orange Wave to 25, Kodai Senga. This is like a $300 or $400 card that I got in a box break.
Awesome.
This is about to get sent out to SGC to get graded, along with that, which is pretty cool. It's a little Brett Beatty refractor auto action.
Can you put that up again? I want to see that again.
Nah, it's not really.
Yeah.
Hold on.
I got to get myself a Brett Beatty. Oh, I can
There we
see
go.
It. Yeah, I can see it though.
I got plenty of Brett Beatty stuff that I can bring up for you.
All right.
Yeah, so Senga's been really good. So he's the ace, but I do think they're going to go more after some pitching in the offseason. I mean, Julio Urias is a free agent. Aaron Nola is a free agent. Obviously, Shohei Ohtani's a free agent. But here's my thing. The Mets will be in on Shohei Ohtani. The Mets will offer him the most money. The question is, does he want to come to the East Coast?
Right.
And it sounds like he probably doesn't. And, money talks. So maybe he blows everybody out of the water and we get him for 13 years and, I don't know, $700 million.
Crazy money.
I know. Like, he could legitimately get $750 million. It's possible.
It's crazy.
I think he'll probably get 6 to 650, but I think 7 or 750 is not out of the question. But here's the thing with Ohtani. If he wants to come to the East Coast, it will be to the Mets. Because no one will outbid Steve Cohen. The Yankees won't come close. He'll probably say, hey, whatever anybody's offering you, I'll offer you an extra $100 million to come here. Or an extra $50 million to come here. And I don't care. If it takes more, I'll give you more. I don't care. But it ultimately comes down to what he wants to do. It sounds like he enjoys LA. So I think the most likely outcome is for him to go across town to the Dodgers.
Yeah.
Now, the Giants are going to be in on him. I would imagine the Padres will be in on him. Any of the teams on the West Coast are going to be in on him. The Mariners will probably be in on him. Well, we know what California team won't be in on him. I think you can probably answer that question better than anybody.
Ladies and gentlemen, that would be Ross Geller. Oh, no, I'm sorry. The Oakland Athletics.
Yeah. Oh, God. The Oakland A's entire payroll will be less money than Shohei Ohtani will make next year. The entire payroll.
Probably by far, though.
Oh, I would think. Absolutely. That's why the owners are moving the team to Vegas. And the A's fans want him to sell the team. Because the A's owner is a freaking cheapskate. You're in California.
Yeah.
In Oakland.
Yeah.
You're in the Bay Area, one of the biggest markets in professional sports.
Yeah.
Act like it.
Yeah. Well, remember the baseball stadium and I mean, it was like saving money type of stuff. The baseball stadium and the football was like right there on top of each other. And when we would watch like Oakland Raiders games, you're
Well, it was the same stadium.
yeah. I mean, but you're like watching the Oakland Raiders game, and on the field you can like see the diamond. I mean, you're seeing the baseball pieces of it. It's like, is that dirt in the middle of the field? It was just like a really weird scenario. And I think they said to them, like, you got, oh no, that was to the San Diego Chargers when they're like, hey, you got to fix this. When Roger Goodell allegedly was like, you got to do something with your stadium. But when you look at the Oakland Coliseum and all this, it's just, how do you get away with that, first and foremost? How do you have the Raiders, how do you have a football team on a field that's also a baseball field, and and you have to play within that, and just seeing that on,
Well, they used to do it.
I know, but you're like, you look at it and you're like, so if the running back goes here, he's running in dirt. If he goes here, he's running in grass, because he's running on a baseball field that's in a football field, and it just didn't make any sense. But I mean, I feel bad for Oakland fans, because the fans are the ones that suffer per always, and
Mm-hmm.
the rate. But there's some fans that suffer through this, and in this case, I don't put it on the fans. But then there's the Charlotte Hornets, where they weren't showing up to games. Allegedly, fan base is down. They weren't coming out to games, spending money. They lost their franchise, and then like immediately they're like, what the heck, we need a new franchise, because Charlotte, we love basketball. And they're like, then why'd you let the Hornets go? And that was like a weird I love having that conversation with somebody and seeing their head spin. They're like, yeah, I'm like, there's a story about the Charlotte Hornets. They're like, okay, what's the story? Okay, well, the Charlotte Hornets became the New Orleans the Charlotte Hornets became, yes, the New Orleans Hornets. Then the New Orleans Hornets went to Oklahoma City during Hurricane Katrina. Then they came back to New Orleans. In the process, Charlotte got a new franchise called the Charlotte Bobcats. So the actual Hornets were in New Orleans, Oklahoma City, back to New Orleans, and then a new franchise called the Charlotte Bobcats came out. And then the New Orleans Hornets gave up the Hornets name and became the Pelicans, and the Charlotte Bobcats became the Charlotte Hornets. So the new Charlotte Hornets are not the old Charlotte Hornets, even though it seems like they are. And you just look at people going, why? They're like, why are sports so confusing? It was a
Mm-hmm.
fan base that was like, what are you doing? You're letting this team die. And then as soon as it left, they're like, how dare you take our basketball team? And it's the age old statement. Some people don't love it till it's gone. And that was the case with the Charlotte Hornets. So now they're the Charlotte Hornets, but in the back of my mind, I'm like, no, these are the Bobcats.
Yeah. So like,
It's
here's
confusing.
here's the thing, and I'm gonna give a good quote here. I'm gonna see if you know where it's from. You know, I wish there was a way to know when you're in the good old days before you've actually left them.
Okay.
Probably what they were feeling. Any idea where that's from?
I wish you'd known you were in the good old days before you left them.
It's not really a well-known quote, so it's
Give me a hint. It's a movie, right?
no.
Oh, it's a TV show?
It's a TV show.
Okay. It's a TV show. I wish you knew you were in the good old days.
Near the final episode of it.
Okay. I'm just going to start rattling off shows that used to give.
We have some sort of connection to where it's based.
Oh, yeah. Word. And The Office.
Yes.
I wish you knew you were in.
Andy said that at the end.
Yeah. Because they had those moments. By the way, when I was working in Pennsylvania, in Scranton, right where the show was supposed to be downtown, some of my bosses reminded me of The Office, but they weren't acting. That's actually who they were. And so when you see a boss say something outrageous on the show The Office, I'm like, yeah, I lived that. But they meant it, and they thought nothing of it.
You sure it wasn't Michael Scarn?
No, it wasn't that. If I got to see Steve Carell show up in my office, that would have been fun. But there was moments I had where I would turn my chair when something was going on, and I would genuinely look up at a fake camera. I would just be sitting there listening to a conversation, and I'd turn my chair and I'd look up and I'd say, I'd like call my mom. I'm like, if there was a camera here today that caught my face when this
Just break the
happened,
fourth wall.
yeah, I was breaking the fourth wall. I'm like, is this real? And the people, oh my gosh, if I told you the stories of the things that happen within there, it's like a weird dream. It's like there was really great people there, and then there was other people there. And, not that they're not great in their own right, but the nicest way I can put it is if there's anything you like about me, they were very different than that. And it was just strange, and it was cutthroat. I mean, you're on the same team in sales, and people are trying to beat the people that they sit next to every day and trying to snake stuff from somebody who they just like had birthday cake for in the conference room. So I mean, the office got kind of real for me, but if I had Michael Scott, it would have been better, because at least he didn't mean what he was saying most of the time.
Yeah. And we both know that series went downhill when Steve Carell left the show.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
For the record.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, kind of transitioning back to baseball a little bit with it. With the whole Shohei Ohtani thing, the Angels I think are going to try and keep him. I mean, I don't know what a contract from the Angels looks like.
They got money.
Because they have money. And Artie Moreno is not afraid to spend money.
Yeah.
But the problem is, all these years, Artie Moreno has spent crappy money on bad players. Now, I'm not going to put Anthony Rendon in that. That means, he's just not been good. He's not been healthy. Yeah. At the time, it looked like a great signing, because he was coming off the World Series with the Nationals. He was a great player. I believe he had just won the batting title, or was close to it, in the National League. But he was always a great player. And then he goes to the Angels, and he just is terrible because he's always hurt.
Yeah.
But we'll see what they want to do. I mean, Ohtani clearly likes it there. But I will say this, if Ohtani's gone, they got to rebuild.
Yeah.
And that would mean Mike Trout's going to be gone too. Don't be surprised if Ohtani leaves. Do not be shocked if Mike Trout forces his way to Philly.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and the thing is it's not working. You have
clearly
some people consider Mike Trout the best player in baseball. Some people consider Shohei Ohtani. They're on the same
too.
Yeah, they're on the same team, and they don't go to the postseason. It's not like we're talking about a team where they don't win the World Series. They're not even going to the postseason.
Yeah. And, at this rate that they're at right now, they're not going to. They're one game under 500. They're in fourth place.
Yeah.
They are, let's see, 6.5 games out of the wild card.
Yeah.
You could have traded Ohtani when you had the chance. Gotten a boatload of prospects for him.
Which is what I would have done.
Yeah. You know damn well that your team is not built to go to the postseason.
Right.
They are proving everyone right. They just lost 2 out of 3 to the Astros. They got swept by the Mariners last weekend in a 4-game series. They lost 2 out of 3 to the Braves at the end of July. They lost 2 out of 3 to the Blue Jays. They just beat the Giants 2 out of 3. They just lost 2 out of 3 to the Astros, I think, like I said. And now they got the Rangers, the Rays, the Reds in their next 3 series.
Yeah.
That doesn't get any easier. They're going to lose Shohei Ohtani for nothing.
Yeah.
For nothing.
Yeah.
The Nationals had the same problem with Bryce Harper. 2018. When you have a player that is about to hit free agency and you are borderline to probably not going to make the playoffs, you get rid of that player if you know you're not going to re-sign him.
Yeah.
Now, the Nationals, I think, had a realistic shot of re-signing Harper. So I can understand why they probably kept him. I don't think it's realistic for the Angels to re-sign Shohei Ohtani. I don't think Artie Moreno would fork over $650 million for him. I really don't. And it's nothing against Artie Moreno. That's a lot of freaking money. I just think the Dodgers are going to spend their stupid money and throw it at him. But again, Steve Cohen's going to try and do the same thing with the Mets.
Yeah.
I mean, right now, I think the three top teams for Ohtani are probably the Dodgers, the Giants, and the Mets, all in the National League. All going to offer him a lot of money. The Giants have been looking to land a superstar for years.
Yeah.
They tried with Correa. That deal fell through. They tried with Judge. The Yankees came in at the 11th hour and re-signed him. They're going to try with Ohtani. I think that's probably the next most likely destination for him other than New York would be the Giants because it's still on the West Coast. He still loves the area. The Giants are a team that defy expectations year in and year out. They are constantly just defying realistic expectations for teams.
Yeah.
Because they don't have a good lineup. They don't have a great pitching staff, but they know how to play. They have professional hitters. They have solid pitching that can get you to the playoffs. Now, they are currently, I believe, in second place to the Dodgers at the moment. They are 8.5 games back, but they are also in the second wild card spot currently.
Yeah,
just behind the Phillies, just in front of the Marlins. That's going to be a very competitive race for that last National League wild card spot because you've got the Diamondbacks at 2.5 out, the Reds and Cubs are half a game out, and you get the Marlins, the Giants, and the Phillies. Phillies just went to the World Series. Giants know how to win. The Marlins are that pesky team that nobody wants to see.
Yeah.
The Cubs have been a little meh lately after they decided to keep everybody and buy at the trade deadline, which I think was a huge mistake. Cash in on that cheap contract they got on Cody Bellinger. That was a huge mistake for them. Ellie De La Cruz has come back down to earth for the Reds. So they're half a game out, and I believe they are 3.5 out in the division to the Brewers. I am very intrigued to see what happens the rest of the way because now I could sit back as a baseball fan and just enjoy it.
Yeah, well, I mean, and the Mets aren't mathematically out. They're 8.5 games out of the wild card spot.
Yes,
so
they are.
8.5 out of the wild card spot.
Who do they have?
I'm just saying. In
they are. What are they in their last 10?
Yeah,
3-7 in their last 10.
Mathematically, and they're 6 games.
I know they're not. I mean, neither are the Oakland A's. They're not mathematically out either.
The Oakland A's are mathematically out.
They're not.
No, they are.
No one's mathematically out yet.
Wait. Oh no.
Nobody is mathematically out yet.
That's true. They are still in there. It is a not yet. But yeah, the Mets
they're out. And they're out for the same reason the Mets are out, because they stink. But here's the thing.
The Diamondbacks are 2.5 though, like you said. That's
they're only 2.5 out of the wild card. That's not bad.
That's not bad. The Yankees are 5 games out.
But here's the thing. The Yankees have a lot of teams to jump.
Yeah. And the thing is they have their entire division to jump because right now Baltimore is in, Tampa's in, and Toronto's in, and Boston is above the Yankees. So the Yankees are in last right now, and if it happened today, the Orioles, the Rays, and the Blue Jays are in. Boston is 3 games out. And Seattle, like you said, is above them. So I mean, yeah, it's gonna come down to the wire again. The American League East yet again is looking to pick the majority of the spots up on the American League side of things in the postseason for baseball. But we're gonna shift gears to the NFL before we hop out of here today because there's a lot of places for us to go. This has been one of my favorite conversations because we have intertwined so many cool things within it. We'll take a step aside for a fast break, and I do want to say this, and due to Facebook's ridiculousness and YouTube, the copyright issue stuff of all of these things, even when you say over and over and over and over and over again, this is not my song, I'm just sharing this because I'm honoring somebody. I did that with Tony Bennett. I played part of a song for a couple seconds to honor the man's life. And today, 50% of Timberland and Magoo passed away, and I'm sad. He's 50 years old. He had that very unique voice when they went Timberland, and he would come in and go, and Magoo. So Magoo, Love to Love Ya, a lot of good songs that they did. He passed away. I would love to play a clip of his song, but, you know, the crazy rules of what you can and cannot do, and people that get away with doing a lot of it, and then when you play a couple seconds and you get in trouble. However, I would say this challenge to Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, and everybody that's out there: when people steal my information all the time, you don't put copyrights on them. So maybe we need to play this game equal. We'll take a step aside for a fast break. When we come back, the NFL preseason is on us. And are you drinking the Kool-Aid, Murph? We're going to talk about it. Jets fans coming out of the woodwork saying this year's the Super Bowl, baby. And here's the thing. I don't know. Preseason, when you walk in already thinking we're going to hold that trophy, typically that doesn't work unless your name in recent history were the Patriots. So we'll take a step aside for a fast break. Is Murph sipping on that green Kool-Aid? We'll find out after this on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora inside of DT and Murphy.
Hi, this is Amy from Mother's Cupboard, home of the whole frittata. We are open daily 6 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. For takeout orders, call 315-432-0942 and tune in to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora for our monthly food challenge, and try our Wake Up Call signature menu item, available 7 days a week. Here at Mother's Cupboard, we are Central New York, and it's our honor to serve you.
Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory remind us that every day is worth celebrating. Find them at 201 Old 7th North Street in Liverpool, New York. Open Monday through Saturday in-store and all the time online at maandpaspopcorn.com. Serving our Central New York community and beyond. You can order all throughout the country at maandpaspopcorn.com. And remember to get your tins, which have in-store half-price refills forever. Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory, available to you for fundraising and all of your events by calling 315-450-6272. That's 315-450-6272. Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory. How corny are you? This is a special message from Merritt Brady, owner-operator of Chick-fil-A Watertown on 1290 Arsenal Street in Watertown, New York.
Chick-fil-A for me has always been about the people. I think it starts with the strength and leadership of the Cathy family. It's just amazing to see a family-run business reach the altitude that they have. Second mile service is something that we embodied at my previous business, and the ability to make people feel like they're the only person at your establishment, that you are there to serve them that day, and looking for those extra ways to make them happy, to anticipate what they need next, is what makes me tick. And I'm going to have so many opportunities at Chick-fil-A to do that. It's one of my favorite things to eat in the world. My favorite application question or interview question when I'm interviewing is when I get to, have you ever eaten at Chick-fil-A? And a smile hits both their ears. You know, they can't even answer the question for a second. And when I see that, it's like, man, that's going to be a great hire. They already get it. They already feel it. They already know that we're different. The Chick-fil-A experience, it's a real thing. And then, of course, just our generosity and community involvement and making a positive impact in the lives of our team members, our guests, and the community in general, I think is really the secret sauce.
Carvel DeWitt, it's what happy tastes like. Do you know why? Because we make ice cream. Creamy, rich, flavorful ice cream. Not yogurt or iced milk like some of our competitors. Ice cream. Fresh, by hand, daily. For the calorie conscious, we have something new for you. Our new Carvelite. Same great flavor, creaminess, and texture of our regular ice cream with only 35 calories an ounce. So whether you want an ice cream cake, flying saucer, dasher, carvalanche, hard or soft ice cream, we will satisfy your craving with our fresh, handmade regular or new Carvelite ice cream. Carvel DeWitt. It's what happy tastes like.
This is Jimmer Sikowski, owner-operator of Chick-fil-A Cicero, 7916 Brewerton Road in Cicero, right in front of the Home Depot. I had a deep feeling that God wanted me to do something bigger with my life and to help people, help others. I kept putting Chick-fil-A in my life, and I realized as I was going through the franchise selection process that positively impacting the lives of others was really core to what we do here at Chick-fil-A. First of all, it starts with the food. The food is brought in fresh daily, and we bring in local produce. We prepare to order in the kitchen. We hand bread our chicken. We hand spin our milkshakes. It's great food. It doesn't taste like fast food. I think the second thing is the way people feel when they come in a Chick-fil-A restaurant. It's different. We try to treat people with intentional kindness here, which is very different and deeper than good customer service. And so I think it feels remarkable for most people to come in a Chick-fil-A restaurant. And then lastly, the impact that we try to have in the community is very different. It's a big part of the expectation of every operator of a Chick-fil-A restaurant is that they're actively engaged in their community, they're a leader in the community, and they're making a difference. When they realize that what we're striving to do is to shine a little light in their life, that's a very, very different experience than you will have in any other quick service restaurant. And it's that remarkable experience that I think people will emotionally connect with.
The Wildcat Sports Pub in Camillus, New York is located on 3680 Milton Avenue in the Home Depot Plaza. It is your family-friendly sports bar and restaurant. Folks, some sports bars aren't family-friendly. Some family-friendly restaurants are not sports bars. The Wildcat Sports Pub in Camillus, New York is proud to be both. It is that marriage that you've been looking for years. The Wildcat Sports Pub is your home base for your sports bar and restaurant needs, games for the kids, indoor and outdoor activities, and enough things on the menu to come back every single week and get to try something new. They're open Sundays from noon to 8 p.m., Monday through Wednesday, 11 a.m. to 11 p.m., and Thursday through Saturday from 11 a.m. to midnight. For reservations and party information, call 315-487-2222 for the Wildcat family-friendly sports pub and restaurant.
Welcome back here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. Proud to be here with you every Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time. You know we start off each week with Murph, and Murph is here with me picture-in-picture. Brendan Murphy. We spoke about baseball and a lot of cool things on the way in. Can't wait to listen back to this show. We've had some fun here this morning. So we're heading to the NFL and the NFL's preseason as we get closer and closer to draft time, which means that my Marywood Alumni League is going to be back. It means all of our leagues that are exclusively here in Central and Upstate New York at the Wildcat Sports Pub on 3680 Milton Avenue in Camillus, New York, they're going to be back. And my league down in Florida that heads into its 13th year, what up, to the wonderful people down in the Sunshine State, our second home, a Wake Up Call and Dan Tortora Broadcast Media, and personally my second home, we will be drafting soon as well. So a lot of great stuff coming up here, a lot of excitement. I can't believe we're already back in fantasy draft season. So, Murph, have you drunk the forest green colored Kool-Aid? By the way, if you did, ew. So, I mean, that color Kool-Aid's nasty, but it's kind of looking a little bit like oil. But have you drank the Kool-Aid? Do you believe the Jets are going to go to the playoffs, run the table, and win the Super Bowl? Because there are people out there that have already donned them. And typically when you don a champion in the preseason, it doesn't happen outside of Bill Belichick and the Patriots within that era. And,
or the Chiefs.
And the Chiefs in certain instances, not always, and the Cowboys in the 90s.
Fair. No, I have not drank the Kool-Aid. First thing I want to say.
Yeah.
Anybody who claims to be a Jets fan that did not go through the suffering of the last decade
Yeah.
where we have been terrible, y'all better not be, be the ones to screw this team. I don't want any part of the bandwagon fans. And that's the same way I am with the Mets, too, when Cohen bought the team. Get the bandwagon fans the hell out of here. That's all I have to say about them.
Agreed.
But no, I have not drank the Kool-Aid. Do I think they can win the Super Bowl? Yes. Do I think they will? That remains to be seen. I am not going to, for a second, declare them to be the Super Bowl champions. And anybody that knows me, that's talked with me about the Jets in the past like this, knows that I am that way.
Yeah.
Now, in some cases, I've been, labeled like a delusional fan and, like claiming the Mets were going to win the World Series. Like this year, I'll be the first to admit, I genuinely thought the Mets had a very good shot at winning the World Series. I did. Now, the pitching was terrible. They tore it all down, and they're going to try again next year. And what a great job they did with the prospects they've gotten back, because they have all looked really good.
Yeah.
But that's a conversation for another day. The Jets already had a championship defense last year, which really didn't change. They brought basically everybody back. Quinnen just got a big extension. They brought Quincy back. Jermaine Johnson looks good so far. Sauce Gardner and DJ Reed are another year in development.
Yeah.
But then the new kid, Will McDonald, has apparently looked really good in camp. So he's a guy off the edge that could be really good for them. And they only made the defense stronger. One of the things that you can do when you've got first-round picks like that, you can just flat out go out there, and the best way to improve your team, honestly, make a strong suit even stronger.
Yeah.
They made the defense even better. Now, did they need an offensive lineman in the draft? Yes. But, they were all gone by the time they picked. And there was no reason for them to try and move up.
Yeah.
There was no reason to reach for the... now, I forget his name already. There's no reason to reach for the guy the Steelers picked. But here's the thing. As long as the line can protect Aaron Rodgers, and I don't necessarily think he's bound by an offensive line, I think he'll be fine either way.
Yeah.
If the defense does its thing...
Are you talking about Broderick Jones?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, from Georgia.
Okay.
Yes, that's exactly what I was talking about. Because I did not like him at all. And by the time he was the last one off the board and I saw the Steelers picked him, I'm like, hallelujah. I did not want him.
Yeah.
I honestly want him to pick Jackson Smith and Jigba to get Rodgers a weapon. But, you're right. It got the... we were able to get the defense improved. Will McDonald has looked really good. And if he hits, it's a great pick.
Yeah.
Because now you're just improving that defensive line, which was already one of the best in the league. They had a top 5 defense last year. You know what happened the last time Aaron Rodgers had a top 5 defense? He won the Super Bowl. Folks, you give Aaron Rodgers a half-decent defense, they're going to have a chance to win. All those years in Green Bay after the Super Bowl, the defense has been not good, has been terrible.
Yeah.
Right? So, essentially, I look at this and think, okay, the last time they won the defense, or he won a Super Bowl was with a top 5 defense. That's the last time he had a top 5 defense, or top 10 defense. So, why not us? Do I think it's going to happen? We'll see. Obviously, I want it to happen. I've already in my head thought about what I'm going to tell my boss about going to the parade. I almost want to tell him now, be like, hey, if by some miracle the Jets win the Super Bowl, I hope you know I'm going to the parade. So I'm going to need that day off. But
I would just be like this. Hey, when's the parade usually? Oh, it's early February. Yeah, boss, I'm going to need... I mean, you tell them in advance, I'm going to need whatever. February.
Here's what I'm going to say. If they go to the Super Bowl,
yeah,
I'm going to tell them if they win, I'm going to the parade. I'm going to tell them, I hope you know that.
I think you should just
it'll be before our March sale, so it shouldn't be as big a deal to take that time off, because it's still in the winter.
Nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that. You
But
just
I'm gonna
tell the
go
boss now. Tell him now. It's August.
If they win, you know what's funny? I told them that when the Mets were in the playoffs last year. I told them if the Mets win, I'm going to the parade.
Yeah. Maybe you should not say it now.
Maybe I
just
should.
don't say. Like
Maybe
that's the
you're right.
thing. People are
Maybe
talking
it should be an unspoken thing.
Yeah, like people are going
Where, like-
Jacksonville, Super Bowl, Jacksonville, deep in the playoffs.
Or like he knows.
And yeah.
So he knows when I said it with the Mets. I think he could probably put 2 and 2 together with the Jets too. That if they win, I'm probably going to be in the Canyon of Heroes in a couple days after. But I don't want to get too far ahead of myself because my teams have always let me down, always have, and probably always will. One of them is going to win something eventually, and when it does happen, it'll make it that much more special.
Hopefully, it's not Aaron Rodgers winning psychedelic drugs becoming legal in New York.
So here's the thing, I honestly think that Yankee fans, Giants fans, Patriots fans, like I don't think the winning is very special to them anymore because they do it so damn often. Maybe now, like younger generation of Yankee fans would appreciate it more because it'd be their first one.
Yeah.
Or the first one they could legitimately remember. People my age at least can remember 2009. But the Giants, you had 07, you had 2011. Again, I don't think Giants fans it would be sweet for them. If the Mets or the Jets won a championship, I might cry. Like that's where I'm at right now. I think that's what I probably would. I don't know. I don't know for sure if I would. I'll probably just start drinking like crazy after they win, and end up being too drunk afterwards. But obviously, if they were to get to the Super Bowl, I don't know if I want to go to a Super Bowl party. I don't know if I want to do. The only way I would go to a Super Bowl party is with a bunch of Jets fans. I don't think I could possibly take going to a Super Bowl party with people that are not Jets fans if they were in the Super Bowl.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the thing is, why do that to yourself? I think it's funny now, though, because I've been talking about the Jaguars forever since they came into the league, and I've been covering the Jaguars on-site, on location for the most part of the last 12 years, going on 13. So now people want to talk about it on some radio stations. Now people want to talk about Trevor Lawrence and could they win the Super Bowl and AFC champions and da-da-da.
Yes, they could win the Super Bowl.
And all these people...
It is very possible.
But all these people want to have this conversation where it was, why do you like the Jaguars? Why are you a fan of the Jaguars? Jaguars haven't been in the playoffs in how many years? Jaguars suck. And it's like...
People forget. Well, the Jaguars almost beat Tom Brady.
Well, and I was at the game. I was in the press box at the game, 6:06 left in the game, and I saw my grandmother, somehow, some way, I don't know how to describe this. I looked at the chair behind me. I turned and looked at the chair. I saw my grandmother there. After she had passed, she looked at me. She shook her head no. I looked down on the field. There was 6:06 left. Somebody said to me, how did you know? When did you know the game was over? I said 6:06. There's a couple plays that happened, 6:06. My grandma shook her head no. It wasn't going to happen. I was there. I was also there for a decade of not going to the playoffs. I was there for 3-win seasons. I have seen this team. So I think it's funny that people want to talk about Jacksonville now, and it's like, you want to involve me in the conversation? The person who's been in the locker room with the media that actually cover this team and have seen the changes in the locker room. I'm sitting here waiting to have my conversation and have my thoughts, but it's like, oh, this team, but it's just funny to me because go check the tape. Go check the tape. Check the tape 2 years ago. Check the tape going into last season. Is Trevor Lawrence washed up? Can he make it? He had a bad rookie season. Will he be a busted quarterback? People say dumb crap to try and get you to watch their show and click on their stuff. And now I want to look at everyone saying...
Salicata on WFAN.
I want to look at...
What?
I want to look at... I heard you. I want to look at every show. I want to go back, play the video, play the audio of every show talking about Jacksonville last season and within the last couple of years and right now. I want to have the juxtaposition to out the reality that more than half of the people claiming that Jacksonville is a great team did not cover this team, did not care about this team, or if they did cover this team, it wasn't. The majority of people out here telling Jacksonville this and Jacksonville that, y'all need to respect the fact that what you said 5 minutes ago is not what you're saying right now, and understand that we live in a world where people are going back and checking the tape on everybody but themselves. All these talking heads talking about Jacksonville when they wouldn't even give Jacksonville 5 minutes in a pregame conversation. They wouldn't even put them on the show. I didn't see the logo on the show because they didn't have time for Jacksonville. And now you want to talk about Jacksonville? You're funny. You're really funny. If you want to talk about Jacksonville, come to Wake Up Call. If you want to talk about Jacksonville with people that are speaking out of both sides of their mouth, well, go most other places. But it's hilarious to me, Murph, that people want to talk about Jacksonville when they didn't give Jacksonville 5 minutes, 5 seconds a year ago.
So here's the thing. And I think people were way too quick to doubt Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah.
So my thoughts were, and now here's the thing. There's a distinct difference between Trevor Lawrence and Zach Wilson.
Yeah.
Zach Wilson, I always thought would be terrible. And he was. Case in point. Trevor Lawrence was the greatest prospect we have seen at the quarterback position since Peyton Manning. Better than Andrew Luck.
Yeah.
I'll tell you that right now. Trevor Lawrence was set with Peyton Manning expectations. That's a lot to deal with.
Yeah.
So, realistically, you look at him after 1 year and think, wow, there's a lot of parallels to Peyton Manning here. Team got better.
Yeah.
He struggled, sure.
Yeah.
But the team got better.
Yeah.
Year 2 looks a hell of a lot better.
Different coach, better offensive line.
Yeah. The reason Trevor Lawrence sucked last year was Urban Meyer. And it kills me to say that as a Florida fan who likes him, but the reason that team sucked was Urban Meyer. He had no business being there. It seemed like he had no desire to be there. And as soon as they brought in Doug Peterson, everything changed.
Yeah.
Why he got fired by the Eagles, I have no idea.
Doesn't make sense.
He won them a damn Super Bowl.
Yeah.
And they fired him 2 years later.
Yeah.
He won you a Super Bowl and you fired him. What? This is why I hate the Eagles. They have no idea how to run an organization from top to bottom. They don't. Now, I understand they put together a good team. This is, obviously, what I just said is a very controversial statement, and I'm not afraid to say it. That team with Doug Peterson probably wins the Super Bowl like last year. I'm willing to bet money that they would have won the Super Bowl last year with Doug Peterson. Doug Peterson is the reason that the Eagles won that Super Bowl against the Patriots. He took that offense after Carson Wentz went down, completely changed it. Took a couple weeks to do it, but completely changed the offense to suit Nick Foles and took them all the way to the Super Bowl and won the Super Bowl with a backup quarterback who dropped 40 points on the greatest football dynasty ever. What?
And caught a pass for a touchdown.
Caught a pass for a touchdown.
Say word.
Arguably the greatest play in the history of the Super Bowl. Greatest play, I think probably the greatest play call of the Super Bowl. Maybe not the greatest play. Because, there's still a lot of things that are up there, like the helmet catch. That's still probably the greatest play in the history of the Super Bowl.
David Tyree, Syracuse Orange. Say word.
Yep. But the greatest play call was definitely the Philly special. And I don't think, and it's not that I don't think Nick Sirianni is not a good coach, because I think he is, but he's not Doug Peterson.
Doug's a
Doug
different.
Peterson knows how to win football games.
He's a different dude.
That is why, like I just said, it is very possible that Jacksonville can win the Super Bowl. I would not be shocked one bit. But I hope you know, if the Jets and Jaguars play each other in the Super Bowl, or not in the Super Bowl, because they can't play each other in the Super Bowl. If they play each other in the playoffs, you and I need to be there.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Jacksonville goes to the postseason. That's where I'm at. And this is the thing. So Jackson, I think it's just funny. It's really funny to me what less than a year can do to people who talk out of both sides of their mouth. And people ask me all the time, what do you think about Jacksonville, right? What do you think about Jacksonville? How do you think Jacksonville is going to be? Because I've covered them for so long, and people know I'm a fan, but I'm also impartial. Go back and check the tape. I didn't say Jacksonville was winning a Super Bowl. When? When did I say it? I haven't. And, I didn't say it 5 years ago. I didn't say it during Jalen Ramsey's time because he was a show. He was just a problem. And he's talented, but he's a talented problem. Telvin Smith's a talented problem. Yannick Ngakwe's a talented problem. Calais Campbell, great. AJ Boye, awesome. My guy, Dewey, love him. There's things that Doug Peterson did to change the culture of this team. And when you're in the locker room, you're not seeing everything, but guys are being themselves in a lot of ways, and they're just talking. This franchise has changed in over a decade of me being in that locker room. And Doug Peterson is a man of God. He has a strong faith, and that locker room talks about God all the time. If they weren't my favorite team ever, they could have become that last year not because they were winning, but because I was in a locker room where I was surrounded by people that wanted to talk to me about God and about their coach and when I was speaking with Marvin Jones Jr., he said flat out to my face, I said, what changed? He said, we need a new coach. He said, we knew the problem was the coach and we need a new leadership. And the conversations I had last year, go back and check them. Now that Jacksonville's good, people in the media want to cover it. Now that Jacksonville's good, the door gets tighter. The windows get locked. You got to look at your own. You got to look at the people that were there in the trenches, there through a decade of not going to a postseason game. People like many of the faces that I see, people like myself. You don't forget who you are. And yeah, you got an influx of media. You know what I would say? Hey guys, thank you so much. I'm going to take care of all these people that have had credentials for many years and have done a respectful job covering our team. And all of you fair weather media people, you can wait outside. And if we have a spot open for 3 of the 300 of you, we'll give you a call. But you need to take care of your own, because Jacksonville is a story now. The Jets are a story now. The Bills are still a story. And Lamar Jackson and the Ravens is a story. So people want to tell these stories, but I said Lamar Jackson was going to be a good quarterback in the NFL when he was going into the league. I said Trevor Lawrence is going to be fine because I didn't even think there was a question about that. I have been clear on Jacksonville. I said that the Jets arguably had the best draft a couple years ago of any team in the NFL, and arguably in the last 2 years have gotten some of the best young prospects in the entire league. That I thought without Aaron Rodgers, this team was making the right decisions and just needed to find their quarterback. So I've been clear. It's nice when people jump onto a story that's already begun. So it's kind of like if you're the main character and you're in the opening scene and we're halfway through the movie and you're on a quest to go up the mountain and find that thing that you need to find to save the universe, there's always that character or two that join you in the middle of your path after you've been through so much adversity to be with you when you get to that point. And that's how I liken this. I've been with the Jaguars at the bottom of this mountain when people told me I couldn't climb it. Now everybody wants to come up the mountain with the Jaguars, with the Jets. with the Bills still, with Lamar Jackson. But it's funny to me that 2 weeks ago, Lamar's not a good quarterback. Signs a contract. Oh my gosh, he's my best friend. Last season.
Can I still say Lamar's not a good quarterback?
You can say
Can I
whatever.
still say, because you know me.
But
you've
been consistent.
and yes,
You've been consistent.
I have been consistent. Even the year he won the MVP, I still didn't think he was a good quarterback.
Right. You've been consistent. He's a different He's a different quarterback. I think that he should be a quarterback in the NFL. That's my belief. Now,
yes, he's a serviceable quarterback.
He's good enough.
I don't disagree with that.
He's good enough to be a quarterback in the NFL. Here's the thing, though.
I just don't think he's good.
But I just find it funny because all these people are defending Lamar Jackson to get his money when most of the media was not defending that he was even a quarterback coming out of Louisville. So the reality of the fact is we're talking about teams that all of a sudden are in the public eye, but there's Bills fans that reappeared when Josh Allen was on the team
100%.
There are Jets fans that are all of a sudden, and you know it. You and I have known it since elementary school. You know the people that are fake because they're over the top. And the Jets, let's say they start winning, they go 6-1 to start the season or something like that, 5-1, 6-1, and here's these people, right? And you're having a conversation, and they're like, "Man, Jets, been a Jets fan since '86. Oh my God, Jets nuts!" And this is what I do to those people. I'm like, name 7 people on the roster not named Aaron Rodgers, Sauce Gardner. Go ahead. Tell me the offensive line of the New York Jets, because I did that with an Eagles fan who was ripping on the Cowboys. I fabricated an entire story just to see if she knew what she was talking about. I went up to her one day. It was her freshman year of college at Marywood University. She was dogging the Cowboys, and people that know me know I'm a Jaguar first, Cowboy second. And so she was dogging the Cowboys, and I said to her, I go, did you see the Eagles game yesterday? See Monday Night Football? She goes, yeah. I said, oh my God, it was great, wasn't it? She goes, yeah, it was nuts. I was like, man, at the end of the game, Donovan McNabb, you remember that play? She's like, I don't know, tell me. I was like, Donovan McNabb, end of the game. He rolls right, looks, can't find anything, comes back left, tosses the ball over the middle. Rob Conrad catches the touchdown pass, fullback, oh my God, crowd goes nuts. They win in the final seconds on that. She's jumping up and down. Oh my God, it was the best play I've ever seen in my life. I said, yeah, but Rob Conrad plays for the Dolphins. Don't you ever talk to me about Philadelphia again.
That's good. That's good.
And that,
you'll be able to really tll the true.
Oh yeah,
you will be able to tell the true Jets fans from the fake Jets fans, right? So here's the thing: over the last couple of years, have I been prior to last season? Was I watching less of Jets football than I normally do? Yes. It's very hard to watch a team that's going to go 1-15, or 2-14. It's not easy to watch. Okay, so. Anybody who's going to rip on me for not watching every single game, go ahead. I'm not watching the Mets right now. I have not watched a start-to-finish Mets game since June. And it's sad because they're my team. I love them. And, maybe I'll watch Kodai Senga's next start. But I'm not going out of my way to watch them. It's like I got buddies at work that are Yankee fans. They haven't watched a full Yankee game since the beginning of July. Because they're not watchable. Right? It's a different thing between, now, do I follow them? Yes. Do they follow them? Yes. It doesn't make us bad fans or fake fans. It just means the team's unwatchable right now. You don't want to watch them because they stink. And that's understandable. No one wants to watch their team when they're terrible. You want to watch your team when they're great, when they're winning every game, when they're, in games, when they're actually making things competitive, when they're a good team, right? Last year, I probably watched the Jets' first 2 games, didn't watch the next couple, and then they started winning. So then I was watching more and more.
Yeah.
And then I watched them every week the rest of the year.
Well, that's the thing. Were good. I've been with the Jaguars. I was with the Jaguars, Mercedes, Lewis bookends, where nobody else is on the team from the last playoff to the next one, a decade, except Mercedes Lewis. I was there. My coverage of the Jaguars on site, on location, was after they stopped going to the playoffs, all of that not going to the playoffs, and then getting to the playoffs and almost making it to the Super Bowl. So I endured that. I was covering a team where I wasn't going to the postseason because they weren't going to the postseason. And so I just find it crazy how things can change, and you hope that they don't, and by the grace of God, they won't. When a team gets good and the media credential requests come up and this happened and that, and they want to interview this and they want to go there and they want to talk about this. And it's like, hey, man, I just wrote it in the feed. People went from, why do you cover the Jaguars? Why would you waste your time? To, the Jaguars could win a Super Bowl. And it's like, you're funny. You're funny. Keep my team's name out your mouth. They haven't been in your mouth for a decade. Keep them out your mouth right now. I'll take care of it. I'll cover the team. I got this. Have you covered the majority of the roster? Have you spoken to these guys? Have you spent time with them? Let me talk about the Jaguars. Y'all do what you do. But, you know, I'm not saying that you got to cover all 32 teams to be able to talk about something. I'm saying when you actually spend time, respect the people that spent the time. Respect the people that were around it. Respect the people that were talking positively about the Jaguars. One of the dumbest questions I've been asked in my entire life in and out of sports was at the beginning of last season and at the end of Trevor Lawrence's first season. From the end of his first season to the beginning of his second, when I got the commentary of, do you think he'll bounce back? Do you think he'll be okay? Do you think Trevor Lawrence can somehow get back on the horse type of thing? And I'm like,
easy answer.
He's a rookie quarterback at the time, and he's throwing interceptions like rookie quarterbacks do. And some of the greatest players in NFL history at quarterback, Peyton Manning being one of them, threw a ton of interceptions, had a horrible season because you're a rookie and you're getting to know it. I never for 1 second blinked on, will Trevor Lawrence be successful in the NFL? I know that nothing is 100%, but 99.9% of me was like, yeah, Trevor Lawrence is going to be fine. And when I got asked the questions of, will he be okay? Can he find a way? Do you think that this is over? And I was like, dude, this is rookie season. Where do you get your information on quarterbacks in the NFL that you think that Trevor Lawrence is not going to be a good quarterback in the NFL because he had an adversity-laden initial season? He came on to the worst team in the NFL for 2 years running, number one pick.
By far.
So you come on to the worst team in the NFL, or pardon me, 1 year running at that time, not two. So you come on to the worst team in the NFL. The offensive line doesn't stay healthy for an entire season together ever on that current roster. And you have a head coach that looked like he was halfway out the door. I mean, I don't understand what the is Trevor Lawrence going to be okay conversations were, but people asked them to me. And those conversations, I feel like, are now potentially translating from Dan in the bar doing a sports show, getting is Trevor going to be okay, to Dan doing a live event tonight and someone going, hey, how about them Jaguars? Your team can win a Super Bowl. And I'm like, what is this? What is this? You know, Jacksonville to you is not a real franchise. It's not a real team. How many people have asked me every time they talk about, is a team going to move? Oh, it's probably Jacksonville. Okay. Again, talk about the things you know. The Jacksonville Jaguars, where I go and I spend time, they spend money. They have changed that entire area. I have seen Jacksonville change, develop, expand, improve, progress. There's no way that Shad Khan spends the money that Shad Khan spends to move this team. But those are the conversations that are had nationally. Will Jacksonville leave? Because those people are not going to Jacksonville. They're not spending time in Jacksonville. They're not looking at the facts. They're just talking. And when a team is losing, oh, well, they're probably going to leave. The Kansas City Chiefs had an atrocious year. I believe that year they went 2-14. They got a new stadium the next year. And now they've been to multiple Super Bowls, and they've won. So, and they could be creating the NFL's newest dynasty. But they got a new stadium
Could
when they
be.
because it's not a dynasty.
I mean, come on.
It's not a dynasty yet. They got to add.
Yeah, they need one more for it to be a dynasty.
It's not a dynasty yet. And I'm one of the people that is a proponent of calling them that. I'm just being fair and realistic.
Yeah, for sure.
That I'm not going to call them a dynasty with what the Patriots did and what the Cowboys of old did. It's not there yet, but
yeah,
if there's a team you're going to put money on to make the Super Bowl almost every season or every other season, it's Kansas City.
It's Kansas City. You're 100% right. But here's the thing about Jacksonville. And obviously, my only ever experience in that stadium was that Giant game last year.
Yeah.
And
yeah,
I will say, obviously, because you were there, you saw it all.
Yeah.
It was 70-30 Giants fans.
Yeah.
Probably.
Yeah.
Which is sad for them because, basically it was a Giants home game in Florida in October. Which I being at that game, I genuinely felt bad for the Jaguars fans. I did. There were some around us, and I had said, is this like a regular occurrence? Like, your opposing team's fans can sometimes, overtake the stadium. They're like, no, but obviously you think about this. There's a lot of New Yorkers that move south, that move to Florida. They are still Giants fans. Just like they are still Mets and Yankees fans. The Mets and Yankees fans always fill up the Trop. Always fill up Miami. Giants fans always fill up. I guess it sounds like they always fill up Jacksonville. And Miami too.
That's because New Yorkers are everywhere.
Yeah, you're
They're
right.
Everywhere.
It's the biggest city in America. It's New York fans are everywhere. Everywhere. So, when I'm going to say if the Jets and Jaguars played each other in the postseason, I'm going to take a guess and say that game will probably be down there because I don't necessarily think the Jets are going to win the division because I think the Bills are going to make it tough.
Yeah.
But, I think it's going to take 13 wins to win that division. I genuinely do. But let's just say, for argument's sake, the game is down there. I don't know what it'll be like. I can imagine it being 50-50.
Yeah.
I can. Now, I do think the Jaguars fans for the playoffs will pack the stadium, and I'm sure they did during the postseason last year.
It got exponentially better, especially in the last two games.
Oh, 100%. I don't doubt it. But, in a game like that where there's a lot of Jets fans around the country, I could see it being 50-50, maybe 60-40 Jags. I would definitely go to that game, and I would be interested to see what happens there. I would be interested to see, what the split is.
Yeah.
Now, if it's in New York, it's obviously going to be 90% Jets fans. Because I don't think Jaguars fans probably travel all that well. But at the same time, if it is in New York, Jets have a major advantage.
Yeah.
If it's in Jacksonville, I think it's more of a fair fight. I don't think the Jags in a game against the Jets would have that massive home field advantage like most teams would. Because I do think, in Florida especially, I do think that Jets fans will travel well. It's the same reason why, when they go somewhere relatively close, like that Patriots game in the playoffs, the second time they went to the AFC title game in 2010, there was a lot of Jets fans in that stadium. Funny enough, my brother was in that stadium at the time. Went to that game. My sister-in-law is a big Patriots fan. So that was eventful.
Yeah. I
what were you
want.
saying?
No, I was going to say I want to correct myself here. And the Chiefs were talking about getting a new stadium. They might have done renovations back before Pat Mahomes, but they have GEHA Field at Arrowhead Stadium, so no official new stadium came from that. My whole point was Chiefs fans stayed with their team when their team was awful and continued to pack the place. That was my statement. Misspoke on the new stadium. My apologies. So because I say when I'm wrong. I know that that's weird for people in today's America, but you're supposed to do that thing. So, so not a new stadium, but the whole motif was when your team's 2-14 and nobody even knows the name Pat Mahomes in Kansas City, that they were showing up to those games, packing the place, and they continued to show up afterwards. So I want to give a shout out to Chiefs fans that were never fair weather, and to the many of you that showed up to games and supported and loved your team throughout everything, because I respect that and I appreciate that of any franchise anywhere. I think Jacksonville, wherever they go, is going to have a fair fight. If they're on the road, if they're on the road or they're at home, it's going to be a fair fight. Now, I don't declare any of my teams champions preseason, because if I talk trash, it immediately comes back. So if I say Jaguars are definitely winning a Super Bowl, they'll win like 2 games. But prediction-wise, I'll be giving those this week, and I'll be going division by division, and I'll be giving my thoughts. But this is my thing. If you want to talk about Jacksonville like you cover the team, you should probably cover the team. And I feel that way about anything. Just and if you're not physically there at camp, do your research, right? I'm not physically at Wake Forest's training camp. I'm not there at Wake Forest for fall camp, but I've interviewed Dave Clawson for almost a decade, and I can look up information on Wake Forest, and I can do my due diligence and understanding stuff. I know Sam Hartman, their quarterback that they've had for a while, that they've moved up here in the ranks and actually did some good things, is at Notre Dame right now. So, there's conversations that if you're going to have them, just don't go from the disrespecting a team to all of a sudden loving it. And Wake Forest is a good example of that too. Don't say Wake Forest is unimportant and then talk about how great Dave Clawson is as a coach. Don't do that, because he was a coach last year when you didn't think that they were relevant. So you can be wrong and you can evolve. I said Tom Brady wasn't the GOAT years ago, and then I was like, all right, you know what? I can't argue it anymore for what he did in Tampa. He's the GOAT. So I evolved into saying that. I didn't think it before, and I evolved into that. He's still not the greatest arm in the history of the NFL.
Oh, no.
But he's the winningest quarterback, and he can go to a franchise that has like 4 wins and win a Super Bowl. So Tom Brady is the GOAT for the winning and what he can do to 2 different franchises.
Yeah. Absolutely.
That are totally different and without Bill Belichick. But the side conversation, he's not the greatest arm ever. And that was my whole conversation about why he wasn't the GOAT, because he wasn't the greatest arm to me. But you can argue Dan Marino's the greatest arm and he never won a Super Bowl. So there's a lot of conversations that can be had. I just want people to stay true to that. Like, if you're going to change your mind on Jacksonville, that's totally fine. But have the decency to come to someone that covers the team and actually have that person on your show, instead of pretending that you have even paid attention to Jacksonville in the last decade. That's what I'm saying. Because people are all up Jacksonville's butt right now. I'm hearing more people talking about Jacksonville than I'm talking about Jacksonville. And I just find that funny, because I can't tell you how many times I turned on the television and I couldn't get 5 seconds of somebody giving me a prediction on a Jaguars game because they didn't care. And now all of a sudden everybody wants to talk about Super Bowl. And, it's like, it's a great culture, and I hope it's only gotten better. But I saw the culture change. I got to live that, and nobody could take that from me or anybody that got to see that happen. And it's been a beautiful, beautiful thing. And it's heartbreaking that some of the guys that helped to change that culture aren't there right now. And I'm really sad that Mercedes Lewis doesn't get to see this, because I feel like he truly earned the right to see this. But listen, the Jets got some good stuff. The Jags got some good stuff. The AFC, in my opinion, this should be like the college football playoff this year. The AFC should be able to send 2 teams to the Super Bowl, because the AFC is insane.
It's the A. So here's my thoughts on who could feasibly win the Super Bowl right now, and I'm gonna go. And the reason I'm doing it this way is because this is gonna help set us up for future shows here. You got the Chiefs, the reigning champions. You got the Bengals. You got the Bills. You got the Jets. You got the Jags. Those are the 5 teams in the AFC I think legitimately could win the Super Bowl. NFC, there's one.
Yeah.
It's the Eagles.
Yeah.
That's it. The NFC's terrible right now. The Giants aren't going to be good enough. The Vikings were a one-hit wonder. I guarantee you that. The Cowboys are not good.
Yeah.
Maybe the 49ers, but, I mean, they still have question marks at quarterback. But other than that, there is no one in the NFC that's got a chance. It's basically Eagles-Niners again. I could see that happening in the NFC Championship game. But I want to, real quick, before we get out of here, because I know you gotta move. You gotta bring in the president of Alfred University here in a second.
Yeah.
But I want to just real quickly go back on what your point with Brady and being the GOAT and everything. So for me, I was always against it for years, because obviously I'm a Jets fan. I'm a Tom Brady hater, or I was a Tom Brady hater, not so much anymore. I still to this day, yes, he is the GOAT. I made that after the 28-3 comeback.
Yeah.
Yes, he's the GOAT. That was the icing on the cake.
Yeah.
I do not think for a second that he is the most talented quarterback to ever step on the field. You're right. He's not the best arm. He's not the most talented.
Yeah.
But he wins Super Bowls.
Yeah.
He knows how to win.
Yeah.
That was the thing with him. Now, the most talented quarterback to ever play the game, and Mahomes can soon unseat him, because I just don't. I think we need to see more on Mahomes. Not that I don't think he will be, but we still need to see more. He's only been in the league, 5 years?
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah, he's very.
But we need to
very
see
young in the
more.
league. Yeah.
He's got to do it for long. The most talented quarterback to ever step on the field is the current quarterback of the New York Jets, Aaron Rodgers. There is nobody with more talent at the position than Aaron Rodgers. Now remember, I'm saying talent, not great winning ability.
Yeah.
If Rodgers wins in New York, is he the GOAT? No, but that'll definitely move him up the all-time ranks. I think if he gets one in New York, I think there's a legitimate discussion to put him ahead of Peyton Manning. I really do. Ahead of Manning. Ahead of Elway. Even maybe Montana.
I think you put him ahead of Elway. Manning, I feel like, just gets so much disrespect, and I don't understand why Peyton Manning doesn't get what I feel like he earned.
I still love Peyton Manning, though.
But
Peyton Manning's the greatest regular season quarterback of all time.
Yeah, and there's people
That's just a fact.
There's people that love Tom Brady, and they hate Peyton Manning. And it's like, if you like Peyton Manning, don't even talk to me. And it's like, dude, does anybody call an audible better in the history of football than Peyton Manning? Is there anybody else that can read a defense with 3 seconds left on the clock? Peyton Manning. If we're talking about best quarterback to make a change at the line of scrimmage, Peyton Manning. If we're talking about best arm, Dan Marino. If we're talking about, arguably the most talented quarterback that could do the most things and have the most tools in his wheelhouse, very soon, Pat Mahomes. There's different conversations, but the greatest of all time, Tom Brady, he solidified that with what he did in Tampa for me. Michael Jordan is not even a conversation with me if he's the greatest basketball player of all time in the NBA. So, but then there's Bill Russell. I think it's like, let's have the Bill Russell, Michael Jordan conversation, not the Michael Jordan, LeBron James conversation.
I completely agree with you.
Like Bill Russell
won what, 10? 11? 11 championships.
11.
He won more championships than a lot of these franchises have total.
Yeah.
His career. Now, granted, it was a different game back then.
Right.
Just like when Jordan played, it was a different game. Just like when LeBron plays now, it's a different game.
Right.
But we can argue that with baseball. It was a different game when Hank Aaron was a baseball player because steroids wasn't even a thing.
Yes.
So
Babe Ruth, same thing.
Yeah.
He was facing guys that were carpenters throwing 25 miles an hour, and he hit 714 home runs.
Right.
Say the same thing about Mickey Mantle.
But we can argue on the other side of it and say, but they didn't have any performance-enhancing anything. So, the pitchers might not have been as great, but the batters didn't have any assistance from artificial crap. So there's different things that you can say. Like Hank Aaron's still my champion. Barry Bonds is not my champion. Because
here's my thing about Barry Bonds, and I've said this for a long time.
I don't disrespect the man. I'm just saying, if you utilize that to help you out, you're not my champion.
With Barry Bonds, first of all, here's my thing. First of all, there was never a failed drug test. There was never actual proof that he took steroids. Never admitted it. There was never any physical evidence. So we don't know. All of it is just an assumption because of this, how much bigger he got from 99 to 2001. Now, here's the thing. You can split Barry Bonds' career into two halves. Both halves are Hall of Famers. If you said that was two different players, they're both Hall of Famers. In my eyes, there has never been a better hitter in the history of baseball than Barry Bonds. He did not need steroids to do what he did. Do I think he would have been the all-time leader without him? Probably not. But he easily would have hit 600. He easily would have hit, because I believe if I go back and look at his career numbers, he is the all-time leader in walks, intentional walks. Hold on one second. Walks, intentional walks. I'm sorry, not. Oh, no, yes, he is the leader in intentional walks. Just shy of 2,000 RBIs, but, you can go just his Pirates years.
Yeah.
Just his years with the Pirates. That's only 7 years. 176 home runs, 275 batting average, 380 OBP, 251 stolen bases. All right. One of the only members of the 500-500 club all time. If you stopped at 1999, which is usually where it's understood that that's probably when he started taking the steroids. Yeah, that's a completely different player after that. But going up to there, he had, let's see. I wish there was a way to separate this. Oh, you know what? I can do that. Give me a second. I'm gonna put this all together. So I'll let you give your thoughts on that.
Well, no, the final. So yeah, as you're doing that, final note here before we get ready to have the president of Alfred University here for another presidential perspective, welcoming you home to campus for the new students as well as the returning students, and a higher retention rate as well as an influx in new students happening at Alfred University, which further shows what I continue to see from Alfred University, which is a positive difference in what they do and how they do it. A note here, just a final note that's kind of a side here from baseball, pardon me. College football realignment, it continues. There is reason for me to believe that the ACC, the American Athletic Conference, and the Mountain West are all still players in this. A big day is tomorrow, Tuesday, August 15th. If a school is going to leave and hope to be eligible in another conference next season, July 1st, 2024, they would have to make notice tomorrow. So tomorrow is a big day as far as some things that could go down, because as of right now, Cal, Stanford, Oregon State, and Washington State do not have a home. And next season, just so people know, you have to have 8 teams in a football conference in FBS to be considered a conference. And so if the Pac does not double, they will not have what is enough to be a football conference. There is a 2-year grace period of getting that together, but the fact of Cal, Stanford, Oregon State, and Washington State essentially playing a majority of an independent schedule for the next 2 years doesn't make sense. So I believe the ACC could still be a player. I definitely believe the American is a player, and the Mountain West makes sense. The American makes the most sense. With the TV deal, they make the most sense with being named after America, coast to coast, and they make sense with the fact that they brought in a plethora of unique places and big-time cities. So the American, to me, makes the most sense. in this, if you're looking at TV deal and you're looking at competition and what this could be and where that conference has been and where it's going and that it truly is a power. The Mountain West makes sense geographically, which people have shown that they don't care about in certain conferences. And the ACC makes sense with the education side of Cal and Stanford joining the likes of Duke and so on. But that could almost be dead in the water. So I think it's between the American and the Mountain West. And a little update on conference realignment. Murph, closing here, what are your thoughts on what you were saying here about Mr. Bonds?
Okay, so from 1986 to 1999, which is roughly when we think that he started taking the steroids, 2,000 games, 8,500 plate appearances, over 2,000 hits, 445 home runs, just shy of 1,300 RBIs, 460 stolen bases, 1,430 walks, 288 batting average, 968 OPS, which is ridiculous. That's a Hall of Famer right there. You can take that to the bank right there. But then if we look at 2000 to 2007, 317 home runs, only 54 stolen bases, hit 322, OPS of 1241, which is ridiculous, and just under 700 RBIs. That is still a player who's a Hall of Famer. Both of them.
Yeah.
It's two separate careers for this guy, which is incredible to think about. And, that's why for me, he's the greatest hitter who has ever lived. Now, the greatest player that's ever lived, and we can get more into this on another day, is the guy we talked about earlier. Is Shohei Ohtani. Because nobody, not even Babe Ruth, has done what Shohei Ohtani has done. Hit and pitched at an MVP level.
Yeah.
And I'll leave it at that. We can talk about that another day.
Nobody like him. So with that being said, we're watching him right now, so enjoy it while it's happening, folks. Don't enjoy it after it happens. So with that being said, here on DT and Murphy, for Brendan Murphy, myself, Dan Tortora, we are going to take a step aside. I'll be back with the president of Alfred University, Mark Zupan, who is joining me to welcome you home to Alfred University after this fast break. Murph, as always, I appreciate you.
Likewise, sir. We'll be back on next week. We'll talk then.
Yeah, talk with you soon. So that being said, in these unique times, there are those in our community that give us a sense of normalcy and positivity. Pizza Man on 50 Oswego Street in Baldwinsville has been here for you for over 35 years and is here now. Call 315-638-1234 or order online at pizzamanbville.com to bring those familiar tastes into your home. And remember to come see our monthly on-site broadcasts centered around the community and our Baldwinsville Bees. Pizza Man in Baldwinsville. Any way you slice it, they are always here for you.
I'm George Townsend of Honda City with some good advice when buying a new car. The true cost of owning a new car is determined by the appraised value when you trade it. No vehicle appraises higher than a Honda. Next, look for low APRs and deep discounts. You also want low maintenance costs and great fuel economy. That's why my advice to you is to buy a new Honda. Looking pre-owned, visit our Honda Certified Used Car Center. Honda City, 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard, Liverpool, or HondaCity-CNY.com.
It would be a pity if you don't shop at Honda City.
Our corporate purpose at Chick-fil-A is to glorify God by being faithful stewards of all that's entrusted to us and to positively influence all those who come in contact with Chick-fil-A. And what became increasingly clear from our success in Cicero is that people love Chick-fil-A. And also I think we recognized that, we had a great opportunity to grow the brand and grow our platform. I felt incredibly grateful when I was selected to be a Chick-fil-A operator. I think what it's meant for me, what I've come to realize on a very deep level is that this is a calling for me. It's not a career. It's not a job. The Lord called me to be a Chick-fil-A operator and to use these restaurants to glorify Him and to positively influence other people. I'm blessed. I'm very blessed.
head to Chick-fil-A Clay on 3974 State Route 31 in Liverpool, New York. Welcome back here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. And if you know it's Monday at 10:30 a.m. Eastern Time, you know it's Saxon time on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, starting your week off with Alfred University all throughout the year, every single week. And every first and third Monday, we have the opportunity to bring you the presidential perspective each month with President Mark Zupan of Alfred University Saxons. And every second and fourth Monday at 10:30 a.m. Eastern Time, we bring you the Saxon Spotlight on student athletes, coaches, administration, and alumni. So President Mark Zupan is here with me picture in picture from Alfred University. And as we are just a couple steps away from seeing those, pillows and books and, record, I'm going to say vinyl record player because those are back now. But as we're getting ready to see the identity of these, residence halls come back to life with the students and student athletes coming back to campus, we're excited to welcome them back to Alfred University. And I'm excited to welcome back to the show, Mark Zupan. Mark, how are you?
Great, Dan. Thanks. Great to see you again. And thanks for the opportunity to join you this morning.
Absolutely. And always appreciate the opportunity and the conversations that we get to have. So as we are so close to seeing the life of campus, that heartbeat of campus back on campus, just what that means to you as the president, that when we have like this time away and these few months and people return home and whatnot and go and work and do different things and travel, when you start to see that lifeblood of campus return, just what that means to you and what that experience is like.
Oh, it's thrilling, and it reminds you what we're all about, the student experience and the next generation. It's as close as you get to the Fountain of Youth. We have a tradition. We're now a week and a half away. The football team is already here. They've been here a week and a half, starting practices. So it's been great to get that contingent settled in. Weather's been pretty good. Not too much heat. You worry about the practices when it gets up into the 90s on rare occasions in August here at Alfred. But the football team and the women's soccer team have traditionally always helped the new students move in. And we've had members of administration, so have the opportunity to also join in. So far, I haven't gotten stuck with one of the big refrigerators and have to carry them in. It's usually the linemen on our football team that have those opportunities. But we have a convocation coming up, a prominent alumna, Kathy Bassoon from Pittsburgh, who's a judge, a federal judge there. And the first combination Hispanic Indian federal judge in the state of Pennsylvania, and she'll be the featured speaker. But also there are opportunities for messaging what the Alfred University community is about as we welcome the new students, and the returning students play a key role in the messaging. But we've got right now 530 new students we expect to join, so that's up close to 25% over last year. So we're finally getting beyond COVID, and we're also seeing a nice uptick in returning students, the retention rate. So that's been COVID created a headwind on that dimension, just strains in terms of fewer bonds that you built as a student, some more mental health and wellness challenges. And this is has been typical of college campuses over the last 3 years. But bottom line, we're very much looking forward to the rejuvenation in a week and a half here.
Yeah, and you brought up a lot of different points here. Having a speaker to welcome in and usher in this new chapter for Alfred University, how important is that for you to have an event, because we hear about commencement all the time and someone speaking at a graduation, but to have someone speaking at the beginning of our academic year, just why that's so important to you and why the decision of speaker that you have was, for this year so important to choose the person that you've chosen.
It's a rite of passage. It's an important journey that students are embarking on, and it's an opportunity to message what all the plentiful and potent intersections that they can avail themselves of as students, curricular to co-curricular. And one of the key messages that we'll provide is when you're going to a banquet, don't make yourself a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. That you've got a lot to learn from in terms of clubs, activities that you can engage in, performances, either participating or as an attendee. There's a lot going on by our performing arts division, whether it's dance, theater, musical performances, beyond just the athletic teams that you can also either participate on or enjoy as a fan.
Yeah.
And our core values, inclusivity. So who we designate as a speaker is really important to us to both symbolize, but also convey through their words. A couple years ago, our convocation speaker was Dr. Robert Johnson. He was also our graduation speaker this year. And he's class of 68. In his class, he was the only African-American student. And nowadays, over a third of our incoming students are students from historically underrepresented minorities. Bob Johnson now is the only person in American history that's been the dean of 2 leading medical schools. So what you're able to accomplish with that Alfred University degree, it also allows our students to see, I could be him in 10, 20, 30 years. This is the power of the banquet that I get to participate in. And if I can take advantage of those intersections where I could end up being.
And when you look at this, to kind of share with everybody, what is when we're talking about the scheduling of events and whatnot, when is all of this happening at Alfred University to usher us into this year?
It'll happen on Friday, August 25th. Move-in day starts the day before. And so it's also an opportunity as family members are there to message them because they're an important part of the students' journey through Alfred and supporting them, being there. Everybody runs into challenges and you grow through those challenges, but there are challenges when you're growing and how we are all on these teams for our individual students. We're not into mass producing students. Each one has their own unique purpose that we're helping to them to realize. And we also have a welcome breakfast that'll happen on Wednesday. All our faculty staff, as well as retired faculty staff, courtesy of a life trustee member of ours who runs a printing company in Florida. We're going to be giving each of our faculty staff, courtesy of the life trustee, one of the t-shirts so that they can wear with pride and as a reminder and as a message that this is what our mission is here at Alfred University.
Yeah, and again, just so we didn't miss this, what's going to be on the t-shirt once again?
Yes, it's going to have our logo on it, and emblazoned on the t-shirts will be Alfred University's mission, helping our students realize their purpose.
And like you said, when you have moments like this, even with a simple t-shirt, to have all of your staff wearing that, saying, we're here for our students, we're here to, help them, to grow them, to have them think outside the box, to find, community as an important piece, to find compassion and empathy for one another. When you have something as simple as a t-shirt, but it's worn throughout your staff, and you have a message from a speaker, but it's heard throughout your staff and your student body, there's things like this, to me, Mark, that I feel can be so compelling, albeit they are so simple, because everyone's experiencing it together in a unified approach, which I think is obviously the mission of what you're trying to do.
Exactly right, Dan.
So as we look toward this and we get excited about this, you spoke about retention and that the retention rate is up. Going through COVID for any institution was difficult. And, especially for freshmen coming in, there's not a ton of allegiance, right? Because you could come to Alfred University or go to any university or college, but if you're all online, you're not developing those relationships with the teachers, with students, you're not inside of your residence hall. So you really don't get to feel it. Everything kind of feels the same when you're online because it's just you and your computer and you're not experiencing what the place really holds within it. So having this retention rate start to boost up here, what can you say about navigating through COVID, number one, and number two, why you believe that Alfred's retention rate is up post going through these COVID times where they couldn't be on campus?
Great questions. The biggest takeaway for us from COVID was, even though we had to pivot to a new norm, how potent the old norm was. Nothing beats being in person, breaking bread with people, participating on a club together, seeing if somebody's getting a concept in a classroom. It's harder to do by Zoom when you have 25 people on the same screen and smaller versions of themselves. If you're in the same classroom a couple of feet away, it's much harder to miss. And then student club activities atrophied. So it was like a muscle that didn't get used when you couldn't gather in larger scale settings. And why we're seeing an uptick, we think it's beyond COVID, but some great work by faculty staff over the past year to re-engage with our students, to reach them where they were. We've seen national studies at the K through 12 level, how much reading and math scores declined during COVID. Some of the same atrophy happened at the higher ed level, but we started to see club activities start to re-engage this past year. We've invested a fair bit, about $5 million this summer, in upgrading our residence halls, just some basic upkeep, and students spend a third of their time on campus in those places. So that doing that, we think, will further help retention. We invested quite a bit in improving our food service over the past year and more closely working with our food partner, AVI, so that we created special events we've offered on certain days of the week for faculty, staff to come dine for free. And that's a powerful thing, because then they're sitting side by side with students. It's another opportunity for them to engage, to promote mentoring on our university. And the quality of the foods went up so significantly that we actually had faculty staff, for my first time in 7 years, actually ask, could they get a meal plan? That it's fairly inexpensive, and we've provided a reduced rate that we're rolling out to our faculty staff this year. So we can promote those intersections between them and our students. And anyway, so nice things to see. And then just what happened in the classroom. We were fully in person this past year. And so that also had an impact, because when you run through challenges, if you have fewer of those bonds, you're more likely to say, look, I need to take some time off. When you've got a teammate on a softball team, or you're participating in a theatrical performance, you form these additional connections. That peer mentoring also matters. I just listened to a podcast recently, how people that have lived through similar experiences, and if they're roughly your same age or your same socioeconomic profile, you're more likely to go to them and say, what do you do? Have you ever experienced something like this? And if they have, they're more likely to be able to help you navigate that challenge that you've run across.
Yeah. And I think, podcasts being a part of my life, it's important to realize we're more similar than different. And there's so many conversations that you can have. I mean, that's why Wake Up Call is where sports meets life, because I use sports as a vehicle, but we talk about so many more things on here, including in this conversation, when it comes to the life of it all, and, mental health, to comedy, finding a positive in negative situations, growth. Community is huge with me, and making sure that we expand out and show people that they matter, and giving people a voice has been an integral part of everything that I do. So, when we're speaking on these topics and kind of what these last few years were like, I can't even imagine. I really can't, to be told like, hey, you can't come back to campus this year. You can't play any sports. You can't go to class, and you're going to have to do all this stuff online. And so many, I mean, it's just the sheer opportunity that I think Alfred University creates, right? When you step outside the door, there's people that are around your same age, going through the same things at the exact same time. And it's a part of life. It's a chapter of your life that is so special, to the point where I want to go back, because when you go out into the real world, you don't have those instances where you can just walk outside and say, oh, look, there's thousands of people that are within 3 years of me. And, these are my teammates. These are the people that I'm in theater with. These are the people that, I typically get together and play, flag football with. These are my friends that we go out to the movies. So I think there's so much when it comes to mental health that as we celebrate bringing the students and student athletes back onto campus and some that are already back, I think we have to celebrate the fact that mental health is winning in the sense of us being together again, learning together again. And it's how I built my life. It's how I built my company. I call it hand-to-hand combat. When you can get in front of someone and physically see them in person, I think that changes the game. And there's no substitute, there's no simulator that can take a face-to-face relationship and make anything else like it. And I think that seeing a campus have people that can just sit and talk and learn from each other, there's nothing in this world that's better than just having a cup of coffee with somebody.
I finished reading a book a little while ago called Outlive by Peter Attia, and it's a guy who is a resident in a surgery department at Johns Hopkins and quit after 5 years because he saw how much money was being devoted to helping people once they got sick, as opposed to preventative. And his thesis is that we need to focus on well span as opposed to lifespan. Living 10 more years isn't that good if you're going to be miserable or sick during those 10 years. And his 4 principles of promoting health span are: number one, getting enough sleep, diet, mental health and wellness, and exercise. And instead of the freshman 15, what we're focused on with our students, and especially when you find your purpose, when you realize your purpose, people that live purpose-based lives, it's been estimated live 7 to 8 years longer. So how do we promote health span on campus? Usually you make jokes about the freshman 15 and picking up 15 pounds. So given how can we also promote this health span through tips, examples, clubs that promote exercise? Student athletes certainly get that, but more broadly through intramurals, through club activities. We're in a beautiful rural natural setting, so you tend to be healthier if you can take advantage of the outdoors. You tend to be mentally healthier and better positioned in that way. And then the more you're around people and interacting with people, you're also more likely in general to be better off mentally and overall health-wise. So we've got the ingredients here. And instead of the freshman 15 being viewed in the negative way, how do we people actually emerge from Alfred with healthier lifestyles and living longer and in a better fashion over the course of their lifetimes?
I think it starts with caring about each other, which, I've definitely seen that from the beginning, which starts at the top with you as the president of Alfred University. And then from there, I think, like you said, where you're set is such a beautiful and unique place because it literally looks like Alfred University has a part of the planet that nobody else has. It looks like it's it almost is like kind of walking into a movie. It's like a movie setting, like a secret garden, a Princess Bride for some people out there. There's something to be said about once you get onto campus at Alfred University, you kind of feel like, and I'm not just saying this because we're on screen together, I felt like I had stepped into a place where the rest of the world, I couldn't hear it. It was quiet. And nature, like you said, it surrounds you on campus at Alfred University. It kind of commands you to come out and see it. And I don't know how you don't enjoy it with the way that the campus is set up. So I can obviously definitely say from my experience that one of the advantages at Alfred University is that the nature around you and the way that the university has been built, the campus kind of makes you feel like you have your own private island in a way where you're kind of tucked away from everybody else.
We have quite a few students that call it the bubble because of that unique distinction. We've got an alumna who moved back to town after many years being an academic administrator elsewhere. And she's fond of saying that it's hard to describe, but once you've been here, it's unforgettable. It's got this Brigadoon, like you said, Brigadoon type quality. And anyway, we did reunion in June. And each year now they dress me up in a purple tunic and a gold collar. One of our staff members came up with the idea. We have over 3,000 married Alfred University couples of renewing their vows at reunion. And we're amazed at how long these relationships last and how many relationships get formed. One of my predecessors at convocation, he would put into his remarks, look to your left, look to your right. Odds are good you'll be married to one of those people later in life. I no longer say that, or I don't say it right now, but it still happens. And the leading theory among our alums is because it's more of a rural setting and because it's such a tight community, you learn to work on your people skills and you deepen those relationships and those stand you in very good stead, whether it's marriage or just friendship. It's amazing how many people come back from reunion to be part of this Brigadoon type quality. So, and last year we made the mistake though of scheduling. We have a distillery owner an entrepreneur doing a whiskey tasting for our alums right before the renewal of vow ceremony. So the whiskey tasting, we had to drag a couple couples from the whiskey tasting to make sure that they also showed up for the vow ceremony.
Yeah, you always got to do the whiskey tasting after when you want.
Yeah, so we learned from that experience.
Yeah, and you're also telling me right now, as a single man, that I should definitely have gone back in time to Alfred and then just look to my left or my right. So,
and we have graduate programs, and we pride ourselves on being a full service university, Dan. So let's see what we can do on that end.
Absolutely. Before I let you go, here with the president of Alfred University, Mark Zupan, in this edition of the Presidential Perspective, exclusively on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, in our multimedia marketing partnership with the Alfred University Saxons. You spoke about an expansion of your student body, and I would love to speak to that as you look at retention, which we have addressed here, the expansion. So not just bringing students back that were on campus and have been connected to Alfred University, but bringing on new faces to the campus. Just what Alfred University is doing, in your opinion, successfully to draw in so many new students and student athletes to what Alfred University truly is.
So we're building a state-of-the-art foundry on campus thanks to philanthropic support, the SUNY Construction Fund. It's adding 120 students in steady state, state-of-the-art digital fab lab, crossover programs between art and design and engineering. Over the past year, the board's approved Saxon Hill, the expanded athletic complex just south of our campus that we've talked about before. It's expected to add 170 students. And then new programs in computer science, electrical engineering, data analytics, business analytics, BS, and as well as the existing BA versions and things like biochemistry, chemistry, biology. So STEAM-related program offerings that have been adding quite a few students, expanded offerings in our performing arts division in our education department. So a lot of it's academic or co-curricular programs, and then just better marketing, articulating the brand, what our mission is, points of distinction like intersections, mentoring, inclusivity. So this is what makes Alfred University stand out. Our biology department has a wonderful new virtual cadaver table. That's a 9-foot long smartphone that you can, like a touch screen, scroll down to the lymph system or the skeletal system, or if you want to be a vet, learn to operate on a beagle virtually or any other species. So it's a lot of different pieces that have been coming together. And then if it's positive word of mouth from existing students, that's the most powerful advertising. I'm having a great experience here, so this will work for you. So when they have younger connections at the high schools that they went to.
Yeah, and like you said, I mean, it's already led to growth and it's led to that opportunity. When you look at, where your students come from, Mark, obviously central and upstate New York, different parts of New York, Western New York, and, I'm sure the New York City area as well. But when you think about the student body, where is Alfred reaching out to? And I would imagine you're willing to reach anywhere.
We have 5 students that started with us from Ukraine. We'll have another 6 join us this year. So they found us, and they're having a good experience, and the word of mouth is generating the additional students, plus the scholarship support some of our trustees provided to help them with their these students with their studies. Corresponded this morning with one of our top students, a rising senior, who came to us partly because of business analytics. That's his interest, but he's from Tanzania. And he's helped really enliven our international student club. And the correspondence with him is he's looking to connect with some of our alums, contacts at McKinsey. He wants to do consulting in that area. So the reach around the world, will have students from pretty much all the continents except for Antarctica this year. Yeah. And largely word of mouth and the quality of the programs. About 2/3 of our softball team hails from California, so the odds are pretty good if you see a California license plate that it's a member of our softball team that is behind that automobile.
And a good thing too, because they bring the fact that they played softball all year round when they were out in California. Right. So they'll be more than prepared. Mark Zupan here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora and the Presidential Perspective, which comes to you bi-monthly in our Saxon time every Monday at 10:30 a.m. Eastern time. As always, Mark, I appreciate your time. I appreciate everything that you have said here about the student body and what Alfred University is doing to take care of the students and student athletes they have and reach out to the ones that they could have in the prospective world of students and student athletes, as well as faculty and staff. And so I think it's only fair that we officially say welcome to everybody that is coming on campus, coming back and coming for the first time. Welcome to Alfred University.
Happy 188th year, because it's the start of that year, and quite a legacy, and we aim to build on it going forward. So Dan, glad to connect with you again, and best wishes for this new week.
Same for you.
Avicoli's, located on the corner of Route 57 and Wetzel Road in Liverpool, New York, has been your trusted neighbor for decades. Located just steps from Liverpool High School, we're happy to have the Liverpool Warriors on-site, on-location broadcast at Avicoli's through Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora every single month, featuring student athletes, coaches, and administration throughout the year from Liverpool High School. Head out to Avicoli's today on the corner of Route 57 and Wetzel Road in Liverpool, New York, open Tuesday through Sunday for lunch, dinner, and drinks. We'd love to see you out there. And of course, you can call them at 315-622-5100 for takeout, delivery, and catering. That's 315-622-5100. And also find them on myavicolis.com. That's myavicollis.com. Having peace of mind when you're out of town that your furry-loving friend is safe and sound means taking them to Canine Campground, because we all know that when it comes to the love of our pets, it goes well beyond the call of duty to make sure they're safe and sound. Right, Lily? So take a ride to 242 Johnson Street in East Syracuse, New York, and see Canine Campground and where your dog will be staying, in the classic cabin, the executive cabin, the grand cabin, or of course the luxury cabin, because if you know Lily, you know she loves luxury. Now you don't have to wait to the last minute to find a family member or a friend that'll take your dog for a few days. Call Canine Campground at 315-299-4013. That's 315-299-4013. Their drop-off and pickup times are Monday through Sunday. Check K9campground.com for more information. That's the letter K, the number 9, and campground spelled with a K.com. K9campground.com.
When you're going out of town, bring your dog to Canine Campground.
PB&J's Lunchbox, the food truck that you love finding all throughout Central and Upstate New York, now has a street-side cafe. So when you're craving their traditional favorites as well as their out-of-box amazing menu items, you can now head to 663 Old Liverpool Road in Liverpool, New York. Located just minutes from the highway, the Thruway, Destiny USA, and Onondaga Lake Parkway, PB&J's Lunchbox Street-Side Cafe is there for you Monday through Saturday from 9 a.m. to 7 p.m., serving breakfast, lunch, and dinner all throughout the day. Get breakfast for dinner, dinner for lunch, whatever you fancy, including their award-winning grilled peanut butter and jelly sandwich. Find them at 663 Old Liverpool Road in Liverpool, New York. PB&J's Lunchbox, where we love to know what's in your lunchbox. This is a special message from 317 at Montgomery restaurant owner Joel Carpenter. Open Tuesday through Saturday for your dining pleasure on 317 Montgomery Street in Syracuse, New York.
We wanted to be a part of the resurgence of Syracuse. We saw a lot of money being put into bringing people back downtown and thought that, we'd like to be a part of that. I love putting together a good dish where people see it first, they fall in love with it, and then it tastes just as good as it looks. We want to provide the best food in Syracuse that we possibly can, and we want you to leave here talking to your family, your friends about what you had to eat first and foremost, but also our service, and to walk out feeling like you're part of our family. I work out in the front of the house a lot, and I love walking to every single table, asking them how everything is, and people looking at me and smiling and saying, this is the most amazing short rib I've ever had. This is the most amazing filet I've ever had. And Donna is great. Sarah's amazing. Thank you for coming over and talking to us. And them just being truly happy for the experience that they've gotten.
317 at Montgomery Restaurant, part of the fabric of downtown Syracuse, located on 317 Montgomery Street in Syracuse, New York. Open Tuesday through Saturday for a unique and memorable dining experience. Welcome back here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. Proud to be here with you every Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time, and appreciate your patience once again as we had the presidential perspective here this morning on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora during Saxon Time. Now, Saxon Time comes to you every single Monday at 10:30 a.m. Eastern Time, featuring the Alfred University Saxons and our exclusive multimedia marketing partnership with Alfred University. First and third Mondays, like today, we have the presidential perspective with the president of Alfred University, Mark Zupan, this being an official welcoming home to new students as well as returning students, as well and student athletes, faculty, and staff. So saying a welcome home to everybody that's coming back to Alfred and to everyone coming to Alfred for the first time. Welcome to their home away from home. So a lot of great stuff happening at Alfred University, including an increase in retention rate and in new students coming to the school, which is always great news to hear. And being around campus and seeing a lot of incredible things, I can understand why. And it all comes down to the people. And there's some good people at Alfred University working very hard and very diligently, and they care about each experience. And I know how they treat me when I come onto campus. And when you see that, that personal touch is what makes the difference. So a God bless and many thanks to everything that they're doing up there at Alfred University. And I was honored and privileged to be up there for history when we got to go up yesterday and be with the football team on their media day. They have never had media day interviews, media day broadcasts happening on site, on location, or remotely with student athletes of any sport. Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora and Dan Tortora Broadcast Media got to go to media day and provide an experience to student athletes like they've never had before. We'll continue that experience with the other fall sports coming up this week as I return to Alfred University. And I cannot wait to share with you my conversations with the student athletes of the football team, each episode being unique unto itself. And they will be taking over next week of Wake Up Call with plenty of Saxons to bring you throughout the week. And whether you know Alfred University, you're a Saxon, whatever it may be, if you know the university, if you don't, if you're a prospective student, if you finished up being a student,
If you play athletics, if you don't, if you're a football fan, if you're not, no matter what walk of life you come from and what you like and what you haven't maybe been around, I'm telling you right now, the conversations with Alfred University's football team, if you are a good and kind human being that cares about people, you should not miss an episode. They're taking over next week, and I implore you to be there for that. With that being said, I want to thank you all for being with us today and every Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time. Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, having some fun with you on YouTube.com and Facebook.com, both / Wake Up Call DT, and on wakeupcalldt.podbean.com worldwide. Once the shows go live, they jump to the archives. Find us on Amazon Music, Audible, iHeartRadio, iTunes, and Apple Podcasts. We've added a bunch of shows here, so make sure you check them out. Player FM, Podbean, Podchaser, Podvine, Spotify, TuneIn, and YouTube. All you got to do is search Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, or one word, Wake Up Call DT. You can also ask your Alexa and Google Home device to play the latest episode of Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, and they'll do that for you as well. Thanks to our incredible partners, Carvel DeWitt, where we have the DT Dolphin exclusive Sunday. It is a perfect time to get, when is a bad time to go to Carvel? And to get the DT Dolphin, how many colleges and universities have their own personalized Sunday down the street from their campus? Lemoyne College does. The DT Dolphin, coming to you from Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora and Dan Tortora Broadcast Media, features mint chocolate chip ice cream with hot fudge, whipped cream, a cherry, green and gold sprinkles, and a chocolate dolphin jumping out of your whipped cream. Make sure you head over to Carvel. Get it today, 4322 East Genesee Street, in DeWitt, New York. It is what happy tastes like. The Wildcat Sports Pub, Chick-fil-A Watertown, Great Lakes Honda City, 317 at Montgomery Street. The name of the location is the name of the restaurant, and their food is incredible. Dress up or dress down at 317 at Montgomery Street. Great for dates, great for family time, great for a get-together. And when families are coming in to go see all of these wonderful student athletes play in our community, be it coming in for Syracuse, Lemoyne, Bryan and Stratton College of Syracuse, whatever you're coming in to see, coming into the New York State Fair, coming in to see a concert, make sure you make a stop at 317 at Montgomery Street. An unforgettable experience right here in our community on 317 Montgomery Street in downtown Syracuse, open Tuesday through Saturday, closed on Sundays and Mondays. Big time shout out to Chick-fil-A Cicero and Chick-fil-A Clay, and our newest episode of the Light Between Us, and the Light Between Us featuring a wonderful, wonderful guest in Alex Pressman, and Alex Pressman going to be on here right after the show today. You'll be able to watch it on our social media, and it's already up on YouTube. Watch the newest Light Between Us. Alex's love for God is so incredibly powerful that I just feel like every single person should watch how beautiful this is and how genuine and real. It touched my heart, and I know it can touch yours. So make sure that you watch and listen to Alex's story. It's really beautiful. Mother's Cupboard, where we have our own sandwich. Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora and Dan Tortora Broadcast Media. Having the Cuse McMother, bacon, egg, and cheese inside of 2 pieces of French toast. Pick it up and eat it like a sandwich. Cut it up and eat it with syrup. The Cuse McMother, available right when you walk through the door. In between the 2 specials boards, you'll see my Cuse McMother, that wonderful, vibrant orange display, and you can see exactly what it looks like, and it looks incredible. It tastes even better. Thank you to the many, 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 many of you that have ordered the sandwich at Mother's Cupboard at 3709 James Street in Syracuse, New York. I appreciate it more than I can tell you. Canine Camp Dog Daycare, as well as PB&J's Lunchbox. Remember, Tuesdays, Taco Tuesdays, they're always doing something cool at PB&J's Lunchbox. Can't wait to see what they're going to be doing next. Avicoli's Canine Campground Dog Boarding. Pizza Man, where we're going to be tonight. Pizza Man on site, on location, on stage, on 50 Oswego Street, Baldwinsville, New York. We will be there tonight at 6 p.m., Monday, August 14th, celebrating the back-to-back state champion Baldwinsville Bees boys lacrosse team. So as a bunch of them get ready to go off to college right before they leave, we get to honor them at Pizza Man one more time. And I cannot wait to have some pizza, have some wings, and have some time with the Baldwinsville Bees, which I love, all the things we've gotten to do over the years, and to spend some time with this team that I've gotten to be around, who really, really made me feel special, and always does. And our last time together was going into the opportunity to win state title, and then they went and did it. So we get to talk on the other side of it, which is a great, great thing, and I can't wait to do it. Big time shout out also to GG Cards and Breaks.
GG Cards and Breaks. Like, comment, subscribe.
GG Cards and Breaks, 639 Delmar Place in Syracuse, New York, right off of Teal Ave. They are open 7 days a week, 10 a.m. to 6 p.m., Monday through Saturday, and on Sundays from 10 to 5. Do not miss a moment of continuing your sports card hobby or starting it for the first time. This is the perfect place to go, and trust me, once you go to GG Cards and Breaks, you're not going to want to go anywhere else. It's a place that you almost want to come back to daily. I mean, I personally could go there every single day, find something new, and it's the great conversation. It's wonderful people, Josh and Anthony and the entire team. The way that GG Cards and Breaks is run, the attention to detail, the care and concern for every single customer, and the customer service overall, it's just a different experience at GG Cards and Breaks, and that's why I would tell you to go there today, tomorrow, and 10 years from now. GG Cards and Breaks has every NBA team, every MLB team, every NFL team. You could go through and check your team box and see what great things you can find. There's graded cards, there's single cards. You can go to them as well and ask them if a card should be graded, so they'll actually kind of consult you on some things, which is wonderful too, and take a look at your cards and your collection. They have trade nights every month. There's one coming up this Thursday, August 17th from 6:30 to 9:30 p.m. on 639 Delmar Place in Syracuse, New York. I suggest getting there early because they do get packed, and they have some great, great stuff. People from all over the community bring their cards for trading and for buying and selling, and there's really a wonderful, wonderful amount of awesome collections, and there's people there of all ages. There's 9-year-olds to 60-year-olds that are there, and that just goes to show how beautiful the hobby is of sports card collecting and how close-knit and special the community is at GG Cards and Breaks. We look forward to seeing you there this Thursday, August 17th from 6:30 to 9:30 p.m. and seeing you all throughout the week at GG Cards and Breaks. Truly a wonderful, wonderful experience, and for somebody like me that's collected cards all my life, a place that I would love to go to when I was 9 years old to 99. GG Cards and Breaks is that place. Many thanks to what you're doing, the entire team. I appreciate you. The Lemoyne College Dolphins are exclusive multimedia marketing partners with Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. You'll find the Dolphins on Dolphin Time every Wednesday at 9 a.m. Eastern Time. AD&DT joining you the first and third Wednesday of each month. And every second and fourth Wednesday, the Dolphin Dive, diving into stories of student athletes, coaches, administration, future Dolphins, and alumni. We underpromise and overdeliver. We've had many more conversations in AD&DT than we promised, and many more Dolphin Dives than had ever been anticipated. And that is because underpromising and over-delivering is what we're all about here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. A plethora of fantastic stories told over 2 years' time as we head into year 3 are all available by joining us on YouTube for free. Subscribe to youtube.com/wakeupcalldt. For more information, go to LeMoyneDolphins.com. And as always, fins up. The Bryan and Stratton College Bobcats of Syracuse are exclusive multimedia marketing partners of Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. That music is fantastic, and the Bobcat Buzz comes to you every single month on Wake Up Call. We have had the opportunity to have some really unique conversations and events that we've done with the Bobcats. We have done roundtable experiences, we've done panel discussions, and had people get to know each other in real time, like as we're recording it. And you're seeing it, this is how these relationships are starting, the bonds are building, and we just had 2 things called Humbler challenges where we had board game and, getting away from like the video gaming things and going to the games that you can play with anybody anywhere and take with you. We had a Jenga challenge, and we also had a Gestures challenge, and those were historical moments on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. We have never, with a coaching staff anywhere at any time or with anybody, ever filmed these Humbler challenges, these board game challenges. So to do not only one, but two with head coaches throughout Bryan and Stratton College of Syracuse. It was a ton of fun. Obviously, you can watch them for laughs and a great time. Find all of our Bobcat content by going to youtube.com/wakeupcalldt and clicking subscribe, and then searching the Bobcat Buzz. For more information on the Bobcats, go to syracuse.bscbobcats.com. And as always, go Bobcats. The Alfred University Saxons are exclusive multimedia marketing partners with Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. Saxon time is Mondays at 10:30 a.m. Eastern Time, and you'll find your Saxons Monday at 10:30 a.m. Eastern Time for first and third Monday, the presidential perspective, like today with President of Alfred University, Mark Zupan, with always some fantastic messages. Today, a big time welcoming back to students and student athletes, faculty, and staff, and a welcome to Alfred to new faculty, staff, students, and student athletes, and an uptick in retention rate as well as new students to Alfred University is something to be very excited about, as Alfred University is truly a unique and special experience that I've gotten to be a part of, and I've already loved my time up there at Alfred University in their bubble, their part of the universe that seems like it's all there uniquely just for them. So wonderful stuff at Alfred University. And continuing with that, every second and fourth Monday at 10:30 a.m. Eastern Time, we feature the Saxon Spotlight with student athletes, coaches, administration, and alumni. The Saxon Spotlight is going to underpromise and overdeliver in a massive way as the Saxons take over Wake Up Call next week, all leading in to the first football game of the season. With that being said, here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, I cannot thank you enough for being a part of the show. Murph and I did almost a complete 2 hours, and Mark Zupan with a wonderful message about Alfred University, where they are, where they're going, and the care and concern and appreciation for the students, faculty, and staff, and a true and honest, welcoming home to all of you coming to Alfred University. So God bless you all. Have a wonderful day. Facebook at Wake Up Call DT, the Twitter, X at Call DT, Instagram at Wake Up Call _DT. And I will see you tonight at Pizza Man on stage with the Baldwinsville Bees, back-to-back state championship boys lacrosse team. Tonight, Monday, August 14th, 50 Oswego Street, Baldwinsville, New York. Pizza Man, starting at 6 p.m. Come out, get some wings, get some pizza. Leave me some, because you know I like my lemon pepper extra crispy and my sweet heat pizza. I will see you out at Pizza Man tonight as we celebrate the incredible history of the Baldwinsville Bees boys lacrosse team and Baldwinsville Bees athletics in general, as they've been extremely competitive in multiple sports for a very long time, including in recent history. And I just love the community out there. Can't wait to see you tonight. God bless, no stress, do your best,